we have Puppypaw up against Vortex. And once again, starting off, we're going to be here on Gorge. And Roos made it through. Surprisingly enough, we're going to be seeing Roos in competitive play up against the Malians here on Gorge.
Now, what I'm actually so excited about seeing Roos making it through, it means that there were some different bans.
What happened here as well? Like, look at the position where Roos got banned. Puppypaw, it's the last ban. That's not something that I would have expected, honestly.
Maybe Vortex has just had enough practice against Roos to be able to say, hey, I can take this. But you need a lot of practice to take down Roos. I know in competitive play right now, Roos has been a little bit of a menace. We don't get to see it that much, but maybe Vortex feels confident enough. I know he's been practicing a lot with Lucifron. And honestly, between the two of them, maybe they figured it out. That's the thing about these brothers, like Wham, Puppypaw, Vortex, Lucifron. These boys are cooking, and they're cooking in a little bit of a pod, and only they know what's happening in this pod. So very often when we see new civilizations, it does come out of these pairs. But as we can see, a beautiful picture of Puppypaw there on the left side, definitely looking a lot less. I think that's. I don't know if they're French.
He changed his hairstyle. He didn't want to look that similar to his brother. So he changed the hair a little bit. He borrowed a shirt from Marine Lord, I believe. I'm not sure if he was over at his place for a weekend or what exactly happened there, but there we go. Okay, we switched it up. Puppypaw once again looking fresh here, and yeah, I mean, looking at the win rate, not really something that you do expect, right? Like Puppypaw having a really good win rate up against Vortex here.
Definitely, but you can also see these are not the most common interactions, right? A lot of these matchups we see in KPMM, etc. But the last real one would, I guess the last two would be Masters of Steel and the Elite Classic, where Puppypaw and Vortex, they did go 1-1, basically. So Vortex is definitely a very strong opponent, and I remember him in his peak. He might be going back to that. So we'll see if he's going to give Puppy an easy time. But getting Roos on Gorge, that's a massive pickup. I think anyone would agree. And Malian's also a massive pickup, but on Gorge, oof. Roos is going to make this a hard one. So guys, let's roll on in and see who is going to reign supreme and take game one. Vortex on the Malians. It does look like we have a little bit of a vision situation there at bottom, but they're going to find their pathing in a moment. Malians, now a civilization that needs a little bit of time to boom and needs their time to, get their economy going. But the Roos doesn't really give you that time. They pump out units very, very fast and very safely, especially considering that you can get your high trade house right next to your TC. Although Vortex has always been the one that I've seen on Roos.
There we go. Okay. I don't know. For some reason, the wrong aspect ratio there on the game window kind of make me thought of the meme. If whales were pants, would they wear them like this or like that? And yeah, the minimap, the overlay didn't quite fit there, but we did manage to fix that one up. So here we go. We do have the double hunting cabin opener here from Puppypaw playing as the Roos, of course. And Whammon, you mentioned earlier, Roos currently on the ladder, at least on high elo. They're a little bit of a menace, and I can give a little anecdote to that. Just today, I was playing up against the Roos player, and at the end of it, I was quite surprised just how many units that player made. And I was checking the gold veins out on the map and seeing just how much gold they gathered. After a 40-minute long game, they gathered a great total of 5,000 gold. You know how much gold they had in the end screen, though, in the economy graph? It wasn't 5,000 gold, it was 32,000 gold. So 27,000 gold just came out of thin air from the hunting cabins and from some relics. But look at that, Vortex. He wanted a lot of gold here as well. Look at that. So many pit mines. The pit mine actually fully kitted out, full of those mud houses here. And it makes perfect sense, because at least in Dark Age, chances are you're not getting immediately harassed by any Dark Age units, any Dark Age Spearmen or anything like that. At most, maybe some scouts harassing you, but by that point in time, you'll probably have some Donzos out there as well.
What I really like about that is when we think about a little bit back, we remember that Roos used to be really, really good against Malians in the early game. Because with Rus, you would go and you would actually burn down the houses pretty quickly. But now, it feels like scouts have other jobs to do. Now, the thing is, they do have a little bit of free time, where they will most likely have some opportunity to burn a house or two, but there are some backup houses. But usually, when you see a situation like this, it does feel like Malians is not planning on thinking about the gold for any period of time. They're going to be making units, and a lot of them. So this is exactly the case when you're playing against pro scouting Rus. You do need the units, you do need to punish them, you need to stop them from getting control of the map. So Puppypaw now sending his scouts and already making a 4th scout, probably going to be rallying this bad boy all around the map to try and burn down some of these houses. You see, the rest of them are underway. They know what the target is, and this is back in the days that we still see the same thing happen again. The moment they figured out the Mali and Rus matchup, those houses, all cooked.
I gotta say, this is kind of an interesting matchup, because typically Rus, they have a set kind of way that they want to play the game, and that typically involves going for cavalry archers in Castle Age, like with a fast Castle Age. Now, cavalry archers, they're a unit with very little counters in the game. And some civilizations actually don't have any counters up against cavalry archers. Malians actually get multiple counters out. Not only do they have access to the javelin throw, which is a relatively fast-moving infantry unit that does bonus damage against them, but also they get Sofas. Now, normal knights, they have less armor than Sofas in Castle Age, and they move slower. So the Sofa is actually a really good unit when it comes to catching up to those cavalry archers and dealing damage to them. Grant, they don't do bonus damage, but they do have relatively high base damage, so it kind of makes up for that. They're like a little bit of a better knight, so to say, in that regard. We're seeing now Puppypaw with the H-up immediately researching that pro scout, and I mean, he's already got 5 scouts out on the map. That happened very, very quickly here. Whammon means that, yeah, he's gonna immediately have a lot of scouts with which he'll be able to pick up those deer off the map.
Now, I absolutely love the fact that VortiX was able to save this house. The scouts, they are going to be making their way back, pro scouts coming on in, so you probably want to secure as much as you can here. But we'll now see what the... Ooh, I see VortiX is already going out onto the next bit of gold. So he's got 350 gold in the bank, and I don't know if he has a plan for that just yet, but it could be anything. It could be pro scouts, it could be economy, it could be cows, but I feel like it's going to be pro scouts. Because this is a game against the Rus. You can't let the Rus just go run amok and get everything they want. What do you think, Rackety? You sound like you're about to disagree.
I mean, I would agree with the pro scout play. The thing is that he just invests a lot of resource right now into the second pit mine, so he's already got gold for pro scouts if we want to go for that. But all of this wood, it's going to delay the pro scouts by a lot, because not only is he investing a lot into Dunzos right now, which also costs a lot of wood, but he's going to have to invest into a stable, he's going to have to invest into warrior scouts. Now, maybe he goes for it, but it looks like instead he's just prioritizing the second pit mine. I think maybe instead there's just going to be a straight up cow boom from him and just letting his opponent have the deer, actually, just straight up.
It feels like a very risky move, though, at the same time, right? Because you're allowing your opponent to get so many resources. But the first cow's already created, so you know, this man, he's cowing. Now, I'm a little worried about that, because with the amount of Donzos he has on the map, sure, he's going to be able to deny quite a bit. But at the same time, those deer are trickling all the way right to Puppypaw's base. And it just doesn't feel like there's anything he can do about it right now. He's stopped producing. He's getting double VortiX now, so he's going to get that little bit of an eco boost there too. But at the same time, this is a lot of food that you're giving your opponent for free, and it just doesn't feel like he's doing anything to contest this. The Donzos are in the base. They're not trying to deny the pro scouting crack.
I mean, looking at it, the thing is, VortiX, he doesn't necessarily need to be afraid of the follow-up here from Puppypaw, because the follow-up is most likely going to be something along the lines of Cav Archers or Knights, both of which VortiX can easily answer, and it means that he doesn't need to be too afraid here, and he can instead go for his own game plan rather than reacting to his opponent's game plan here.
Now, with the amount of units that Puppypaw has already invested to, getting a few archers here, and now a knight in feudal, absolutely love this. It just shows that VortiX is not going to just be allowed to be greedy. He's already got 8 cows. But now, all of a sudden, this is starting to be a lot scarier. VortiX actually might need to make some other units. He does have the archery range ready and instantly queues up 2 javelin throws when he sees those archers. But those Donzos need to be careful. If they go down, that knight is going to be having a field day with them. And that's a lot of damage already. Oh my goodness.
Vortex, he didn't want to give up this position, mainly because he was actually actively gathering gold over there, but has no other choice now than to give it up for the time being, at the very least. There are still more and more of these cattle coming in, and I mean, Vortex is in a pretty decent spot considering gold-wise at least he is getting the double pit mining come in. But now high trade house already coming in. That is a very quick one considering that he's invested into units, he's invested into Pro Scout, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's just kind of how Roos rolls, right? So he's going to be getting not just the bonus gold income in, but also is going to be getting a lot of additional deer spawn inside of his base.
Now, I absolutely love the fact that VortiX has completely shown us he just wants the passive gold, and the rest of it is going into units. Because you can see that he's just ensured that there are houses everywhere. Okay, but there are some villages in the main base chopping away, but fully housed around all of those pit mines, he is intent on booming. Now the high trade house, as it's coming in, we also see that second knight in queue. So this is not your usual horse archer spam, because he respects the fact that VortiX is going to have javelins. Now the question is just if VortiX is going to be able to stop a dive, because we saw a game very recently with a lot of knights under a TC and Amalians desperately clinging on to a dream. And this could be one of those if the knight numbers keep increasing.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, you want to keep the knights alive for that, though. This knight almost going down here. Puppypaw still investing into more knights. The question is, what's the follow-up going to be here now? Because long-term scaling is not on his side. He is trying to pick up the deer from his opponent's side, though, so that's going to be a little bit more food being secured for the time being. But it's only food secured, nothing actively helping him scale here at the time. Vortex, he's going to have to make sure that he's going to be able to get his own age up in fairly quickly because, I mean, right now, Puppypaw, he is looking to mass up as well. We're seeing a lot of archers. We're seeing veterancy come in on the archers as well, and that is key. That is a key upgrade in order to deal with the Malians. If you don't have archers in general, like veterancy archers, you're going to struggle against them because veterancy archers in mass probably the only, or rather the most effective way of taking down the Donzo and Javelin Thrower army composition. Even though Javelin Throwers in theory counter the archers, when you have the tech advantage, you're getting to the point where you can effectively one-shot them. And since archers attack a lot quicker, you're shrinking your opponent's army much faster and he's shrinking yours.
Now, VortiX is trying to catch out the split army a little bit on the side because he knows exactly where those pro scouts are trying to professional scout and drag deer back from. But again, moving out on the map could be a little bit risky here. He does spot him and he should be able to snipe one down here, and it's a nice pickup, but the problem is, I feel like if Puppypaw has the food, he's already gotten what he needed. And he's still not out on the gold, but he's very much having a lot of gold units on the map. One of the knights did get taken down now, but he has to be careful here. If these knights get a charge off, it's pretty good damage. Donzos, though, they are in position to stop this, and none of the javelins do go down. But now there is going to be a play onto these relics. And we have seen that these ones are out on the field. He's got his first warrior scout looking for the relic, rallied right on there. It does look like VortiX is reacting to this pretty quickly. And he has a pretty solid army to do this with. Puppypaw's mass just hasn't grown as much as he needs it to.
Yeah, definitely needs a couple more archers at this point in time. Doesn't have the blacksmith upgrades in as well. At least +1 pierce damage could have helped him a lot here, considering that VortiX doesn't have any blacksmith upgrades as well at this point in time. But VortiX is getting really close now to being able to hit the zone age up. Archers are gonna lose a couple of units here. Yeah, at this point in time, it's just not enough archers, and now Grand Filani Corral is going to be coming in, and VortiX already on 20 out of 20 cattle ranches. Might need to reposition some here now along the as the game goes on, as I don't think all of them are going to be in range of the Grand Filani.
Now, with Puppypaw's archer mass increasing, this does speak to that tech advantage that you talked about. Those archers are actually going to be okay if he can hit them before the tech comes in. The thing is, Malians, they get tech pretty quickly, and there's a lot of production buildings on the side of Puppypaw. He's spending every bit of deer that he's got into his side of the map. And we still see those professional scouts, professional scouting, and trying to make this even better for him. Still, he hasn't touched a single bit of gold on this map bracket. He is just letting the passive gold do the talking. Now, while Vortex, he is now going to be open for harassment, but we do see that army is split up. 127 gold per minute coming out of that high trade house, and that must feel good for Puppypaw. He's able to get upgrades, he's able to get gold units. This man is a happy camper.
Yeah, and Puppypaw, he's not really investing all of his gold into units right now. It's mostly just being put to use into upgrades, as he said. And right now, he's just mainly focusing on a non-gold cost army composition.
So getting a few archers and horsemen together, it does feel really good. I can imagine that for Rus, this is a very mobile, a very cheap army to replace as well. And now getting the +1 is going to make this even spicier. The thing is now, that big gold getting denied is a pretty big pickup if Vortex does not get some damage done now. Now we do see the food eco doing the talking, keeping in mind that for Puppypaw this is limited. And this is a massive pickup from Vortex now. Already getting rid of some pretty expensive units. Like Crackety said, not gold heavy, but those ones, they were made of gold. And they are expensive in that case. Now he does get 4 relics now. Crackety, this is a very happy Rus. 4 relic Rus, he's never going to need to touch that gold this whole game. We'll see how long that first gold lasts for him.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see at which point in time Rus is actually going to start actively gathering gold at this point in time, just because right now it's already a ridiculous amount of passive gold income for them. And Puppypaw right now with 0 villagers on gold, already sitting at 500 gold per minute. That's pretty good. Probably not complaining about that one. And the army count is getting bigger and bigger as well. And yeah, I mean, once upgrades like Boyas Fortitude and so on are through, like this is going to be pretty tough for Vortex to hold. I want to say, though, Vortex's army also does look pretty threatening at this point in time. Tons of Dunzos, and let's not talk about those Javelin Throwers. I mean, their baseline already pretty scary.
Now, the big question for me is this one of those instances where he needs to think about a sofa transition pretty soon? Is that army from Puppypaw? It does feel pretty scary in those numbers. Like you said, the javelins are really, really something to handle. But the problem is, in these numbers, it's so hard to effectively do the damage. And this looks like a fight where he needs to effectively take these trades. Otherwise, those horses are going to get on top of the jabs and absolutely destroy them. You can see him really quickly trying to click, but you see the javelins trying to move horses perfect around here at the back, and he is able to clean up so many of them. But at the same time, those Donzos are doing work, and they're coming from behind just to reinforce. It actually went pretty well here for Vortex.
Yeah, it was great micro. Vortex splitting his javelin throwers into 2 groups and microing them individually, making sure that he's getting as many archer kills as possible with every single volley that's coming out. And yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, the trade was very good here for him, and now we see Puppypaw switching it up. We're seeing a barracks coming up, and that means that possibly we're gonna be seeing some men-at-arms, I want to say, coming in as a front line. Definitely very strong up against the Donzos, and decent enough up against the Javelin Throwers. Vortex, though, also adding in stables now, so the sofa plate that you alluded to earlier could be coming in as well.
Now this is a pretty natural switch that we see out here from Malians, as he's now getting that extra armor on the sofas, which means that that army from Puppypaw is going to have a pretty hard time. But at the same time, men-at-arms now in the queue. We've got a lot of gold on the side of Puppypaw, and he's decided he is ready to invest in some gold units. Now getting those men-at-arms out is going to make this a little bit of a harder fight for Vortex, because those javelins, they just don't do the same level of damage against men-at-arms. Well, now, they should be doing okay, but he's going to need to make a little bit of a switch sooner or later. Now, the army is split, and this could be an opening for Vortex to either move out and try to take an engagement with the army mass on the other side, or he's just going to split his army and not make the best of trades here, because we do see now that those 2 red blobs on the bottom side, they are splitting into tiny, tiny groups, and all of a sudden, this could go sideways. But the sofas are here, and Crackety, they're tanking stuff. Puppypaw does respect this, though.
Yeah, and Port Armor is in. Puppypaw is going to answer this now with crossbows and spearmen on his side. Definitely the right call. Just adding in spearmen in general, I think, is very good when you're up against Malians, and they haven't added in any archers yet at this point in time. So this is looking quite good. Also managing to just clean up a lot of the houses here surrounding that pit mine and the pit mine itself. That's very important at this point as well. Puppypaw just getting out more and more units, currently still leading in the overall income. That's not something that you can typically say 17 minutes into a game up against the Malians, but on the retreat here is losing a ton of these archers. Not something that you want to see as if you're Puppypaw at the moment, because right now Vortex actually not just leading the army count, but also the army value. It just keeps pushing it in further now. This is starting to get a little bit dangerous for Puppypaw now.
Now those men-at-arms are the front line all of a sudden, so they do tank up quite a bit, but the so far numbers are quite scary. If they can get onto the back line here, but with the crossbows getting mixed in, they're definitely doing some good work. The javelin throwers are being split so well to do the right amount of damage. Horsemen now flanking, absolutely destroying, getting on top of these javelins, but the numbers are massive. The problem is, Puppypaw, he did take a great fight here, but at the same time, every unit that he loses is going to start being more and more expensive. Javelins now coming on through to clean this up, and instantly, Javelins ensuring that they're focused on these archers while taking down the Donzos carrying these fights.
Donzos were a little bit out of position here, though, for Vortex, but now the Horsemen trying their best, but as the front line up against the Donzos, not doing too well here. The men-at-arms are doing a good job still, though, but army count is starting to fizzle out on both sides. The issue, though, Whammon, is that Malians, with that passive cattle economy, they just feel so much easier for them to reinforce their army. And now, yeah, Puppypaw, he's going to have to retreat inside of his base. But with still just so many javelin throwers remaining, he still has the critical mass to one-shot. Puppypaw does not.
And I mean, this is usually the problem when you're playing Rus. You run out of food eventually, and I think we've kind of hit that. Where Malians, especially if you cannot kill them in that early game, they just start ramping up and ramping up and ramping up, and then all of a sudden we do not have an answer for them anymore. So usually at that point, Rus has already hit Imperial, and they're dealing with your Zergling army. And it is just an absolute ball of units going into every corner of the map. But now Puppypaw, he's got to ask himself, how do I deal with this? And his answer so far is Knights. The problem is just, there's a lot of Donzos who have an answer to that.
Sulfur raids now coming in once again as well. Villagers on the berries are starting to get taken down. That's actually a lot of villagers getting taken down. Not something that you want to see, especially since you're already behind economically, in theory, up against the Malians long-term when it comes to scaling. Just courtesy of all of those cattle ranches. And yeah, this is now the point in time where Vortex is starting to overtake Puppypaw on the food income. Puppypaw did just reinvest a lot into Spearmen now, so does have a pretty decent front line, I want to say, now up against what Vortex has. Crossbows can still very easily be taken down, though, by those javelin throwers.
Now, this is a pretty sizable army walking around the map. Now, the question is just, is this going to be enough to do that sizable damage that he needs? Oh, already a farm transition coming out of Malians as well with 2,300 food per minute. That's a lot of food, Crackety. He's going to be making a lot more units. He's even getting scouts as a mix as well.
That's good eating right there. Healthy army. Well fed.
Woodlines are starting to get thinned out here from Bruce. He's going to have to go out on the map, and this looks like a fight that Puppypaw does not want to take. Crossbows just going to do the same against the Malian army. They're doing a good job at
getting obliterated, Whammon.
Oh, yes, the javelin throwers perfectly shift-clicked onto them. But men-at-arms here at the front, they are tanking up quite a bit. The spearmen also doing some good work, but again, the crossbows, they just step a little bit forward and they're already dead.
Javelins have to be careful not to go too far, or rather too far into the front line here. Knights still also just trading out rather well. Crossbowman still mostly alive. Vortex actually, he doesn't have that much army remaining. Puppypaw also still actively reinforcing. So has to be very careful though, needs to keep those crossbows alive. Javelin count is getting pulled forward though, and there's still so many spearmen now as Puppypaw is rallying his entire army across the map now behind this. Javelin throws, maybe a little bit too far out of position here, but the bulk of the crossbows has been cleaned up. But the reinforcements that are coming in mean that Puppypaw still has a massive military lead. And in this position, right now, there's nothing inside the TC. The TC doesn't really provide any protection whatsoever. Puppypaw, he can start burning down these cattle ranches potentially very soon.
The problem is, you know how he has all the food in the world? He's just got nothing else to produce anything from. We see now Musafati's being added. He's realizing, hey, these men-at-arms, they do provide a little bit of a problem for me. Now the spearmen also finally going down. Sofa numbers increasing. But this was a pretty tough fight here for VortiX. He lost quite a bit of army here. But the thing is, he gets to replace this. Actually, he can replace this 600 times over if Puppypaw does not find a way to defeat him with a killing blow. Now, that's a lot of villagers, though, and he does have the knights trying to find a few kills, and there's a stealth forest to provide some level of protection, and they turn around. The villagers might live.
Looks like they are going to be able to live here. Not something that I expected, but instead finds the villagers on the wood line here instead. Puppypaw, is he going to pay attention? Puppypaw. Does he? But he just went so far past them. Missing the critical timing here in order to find them. And VortiX, he needs the wood behind this. Look at how much wood he's got in the bank. Nothing at all. And so he can't even do like an arch transition, which you really want to do against your opponent who's just massing up more and more spearmen at this point in the game. Not being able to mass up archers just feels so difficult now. And Puppypaw is starting to take some really good trades yet again.
The wood has been the answer here all along. It does look like those javelins are not going to be able to fight anymore, and not having that archer composition with the poison arrows at this point of the game feels so rough. Those villagers are running for their lives, and the rest of the reinforcements are standing at the base, ready to take this fight, though. He's going to turn around, and he should be able to do a significant chunk of damage here. Puppypaw needs to be careful. This is still a very dangerous game. You are still against Malians that has all this passive food, and you didn't do a lot of economic damage. So he needs to be careful. He cannot overcommit, but at the same time, he needs to find some damage.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of having to be careful, Puppypaw also reinvesting into knights and some men-at-arms doesn't feel good when VortiX now has a lot of these Musafati warriors. Instead, very few Dunzos. I think now is the play to remass into horsemen. Puppypaw starting to add in some more horsemen now as well. Looking good there. Farm transition also mostly done, I want to say, in the back of Puppypaw's space. So food income should be looking up here at the moment. VortiX, he's been idled out a lot on his economy, which is why currently there's quite the dip in his income overall. So if Puppypaw is able to keep this pressure up, able to trade out effectively, he's going to be in a very good spot here. Might potentially be able to do some pressure now, putting up pressure on these cattle ranches. Not something that VortiX really wants to give up. And on the retreat, these crossbows are able to pick up a lot of these sofas here. Very, very important to keep those army units low.
The lack of archers is making this so hard. The javelins, they are great, but against the mass spears, they are struggling, and that is a lot of spears. 32 spears with now a lot of crossbows in the mix as well. You can see the sofas trying to get on the back line, but they are getting deleted. It looks like the Musafatis are trying to make something work here, but those are spears. You are not doing the bonus damage you were hoping for. 3 men-at-arms you made those for is just not paying off. Now the crossbows, though, at the back, they're trying to eat everything they can on the side, but apparently the javelins, they're finding some pretty good connections here. Shift clicking amazingly, because we know VortiX is an old StarCraft player. He is fast, as fast as you get. But this is a little bit chaotic now, and Puppypaw, his income is still looking pretty good behind this.
Yeah, the issue here in this fight, in that situation, was that Puppypaw, he's messing up a lot of spearmen. The issue is that spearmen don't actually do too well up against Musafati warriors. Like in a straight-up 1-on-1 engagement, the Musafati warrior always wins. They have more attack speed and, yeah, just hit harder at the end of the day. Even though they're meant to be an anti-armored unit, they still do well even up against horsemen and spearmen. Not that great up against horsemen because they have way more health, especially up against the Ruse horsemen with Boy's Fortitude. So horsemen definitely the right unit here for Puppypaw to mix in now as a main like frontline unit. He needs to make sure though that the Dunzas aren't that big of a threat to him. So I want to see like maybe even remass into archers at this point in time. Because you only need enough crossbows to one-shot the sofas. After that, just going into pure archers, probably more value there for him. Also seeing some walls now coming in for Wham, as there are some sofas trying to find some raiding spots.
Now, this is pretty standard if you're playing against Malians. You know the sofa raids. They do have their timing, and with farms like that, you should be expecting those. Now, the crossbow numbers, they're still pretty scary, and Puppypaw was asking himself, where can I do the real damage? And the problem is, the real damage seems to be a little bit risky here, because again, those horses are not with him right now. They aren't going to be here to make that connection, to get the actual damage down. The crossbows, they're in a little bit of danger. They do fight backwards, and they're doing a pretty damn good job at it, but at the same time, this is a Malian army. It's just going to get remaxed and remaxed. Luckily for Puppypaw, he does have the farm transition going as well. So the later in the game this goes for Rus, I feel like Puppypaw is probably going to be in a pretty good position. That Malian power spike that we usually see, it doesn't feel like it hits quite as hard as we usually experience.
It's tough to say, because now Vortex at this point in time, he has finally managed to get the wood income that he needs, and we are now seeing the transition in to Poison Arrow archers coming in. So both Veterancy and the Poison Arrow upgrade is starting to come in. Puppypaw still trying to capture up these sacred sites every now and then, and just being able to get more and more of that passive gold income. At this point in time, Whammon, it's 30 minutes into the game. Puppypaw has not made a single mining camp on gold yet. Not sure if we're gonna see it this game, but so far we haven't.
Well, for university upgrades, he might need to. He might need to think that way, right? To be fair, he's got the sacred
potentially.
Yeah. But you know, they nerfed the high traders, right? So the high traders, definitely a massive nerf on the high traders. We can see having huge impacts all around. Definitely not too much
Minimap's busting out of its pants. Minimap looking kind of huge right now.
They just want to ensure we have the best vision, Crackety. We are now seeing that minimap just giving us all the vision we could ever dream of. It does look like these crossbows, little groups of crossbows, are trying to find some damage. But now it's a little bit of that stalemate where we attack in, we have to fall back. Attack in, fall back. So the follow-up will probably come from the person who just gets a nice little keep and controls a significant portion of this. Because we know that Malians, they will need the gold that Rus doesn't.
Ooh, we're now starting to get into another fighting spot here between the two. Vortex, he's kind of stopped massing into javelin throws, so with 44 crossbows, Puppypaw might now be in a little bit of a better spot when it comes to taking fights, and we do see the horsemen coming in. Distracting the Spearman at the front side. Crossbow still doing a really good job here at the front line. Spearman also just tanking up the brunt force here from Vortex. Still the javelin throws, though, are getting focused onto the crossbows and the archers in the back. Taking down all the Spearman. Puppypaw, he's got to be really careful here. He's losing a lot of military mass. Crossbow count already halved at this point in time. Still, the javelin throws mostly untouched. Only just now a couple going down. Sofa count is looking low, but so is Puppypaw's army count now.
It seems like those poison archers actually paid off. Maybe the focus on them just was not hard enough. But the javelins at the same time, he's got a handful, but they have their eyes on a specific target, and they're hitting it perfectly every single time. Sofa's now breaking on through the horses.
Ooh,
just
gold
not...
gathering.
Oh, finally! Oh my gosh, Crackety! Rus found gold!
That's kind of weird. Why would you do that? Anyways, fight still going on. Horsemen trying their best here, but not too many remaining. Javelin throwers still picking apart the remainders here of these crossbows. We're seeing some more men-at-arms coming in, more horsemen in queue as well, but not quite on the field where they're needed at the moment. And Puppypaw, he doesn't really have any defensive structures to fall back onto.
It does seem like Puppypaw is now on the back foot, even with that amazing food economy behind this. He's just not able to get the units he needs to actually stop this. The villagers are now safely tucked away in that TC. We can see he's trying to kite, he's trying to fight in these little choke points, but he doesn't have the siege that we usually see out of Rus, especially when you're faced against the Malian player. You know that those groups of units are going to be clumped up, but at the same time, Vortex is microing perfectly. He's targeting every single unit he can. You can see every bit of APM going into those javelin throws, ensuring the crossbows get kicked off instantly so the sofas can reign supreme.
And there's just this big mass of red dots right now moving towards Puppypaw's base. He's trying to reinforce inside of his base, but units are just immediately engaging combat the second they get out onto the field. But maybe Puppypaw's able to stay here for the time being. Vortex is regrouping outside of the choke points now. It's gonna be enough though. There's still just a significant army lead at the moment for Vortex. The armored units, though, aren't going down as quickly anymore, and there aren't any more Musafati warriors out in the field.
Now, the army numbers are not looking like they're going to be replenishing any time for Puppypaw. He's going to need to get some pretty sneaky stuff to make this work, because the thing is, he's on 4 relics. He's got his farm transition going. He's got an insane income. But at the same time, he's just not able to close this out. Now, the question is, would Siege make this a little bit easier to do? And I feel like maybe a little bit earlier, but with the SOFA numbers we have now, I feel like Vortex is in a position where he could easily rotate and do damage to that. But Vortex has to ask himself now, how do I actually do damage to this? Where is he getting resources from? There's a big chunky gold there at the top, but he knows he's playing against Rus, and Rus would never be on gold.
Never. Right?
Never!
Right. Yeah. We do say that as Puppypaw is on a large gold vein on the other side of the map.
Yes, exactly. That was the irony practically. It was I was supposed to catch Twitch short off gold, and he's gotta keep dragging it. He wants that gold. He's securing.
Gotta get these keeps in. And Puppypaw is still having a rough time when it comes to massing up units. Vortex at the moment still sitting at that like almost 100 unit mark currently. We're now also starting to see more infantry, more Donzos, more Musafati warriors getting added. Another fight is being taken here now. Puppypaw trying his best. Javelin throws also getting remassed behind all of this. Is this gonna be enough though? I mean, the crossbows are still trying their best, but every time the javelin throws just very, very effectively singling them out. And the front line at the moment, it's not killing as quickly as it needs to, not nearly as quickly as it needs to, as the man-at-arm mass is just getting absolutely shredded here by what seems like just Donzos and poison arrow archers. Keep is getting rushed up now inside the base from Puppypaw, but can it get rushed up in time? Vortex is being relentless. He just keeps on pushing in, keeps on killing the units that Puppypaw is trying to mass up here. So no mass really being able to be created here. Keep at the very least is going to go up, but still so many farms here are going to be in harm's way. These are just farms that Puppypaw is not going to be able to get to for the time being as long as these archers are here. And yet with the keep there, Vortex, he's not being deterred. He just keeps on pushing in deeper.
He knows that this is not the end for those units, and even if they do end, more will come. As we see, he now gets siege engineering as well, so he sacrifices a few of these lambs to try and get that push to be final. He asked himself, where can I do damage? The answer was not gold, it was food. And now that he shut down the food, we can see that income plummeting to 1,000 per minute, while Vortex is on 2.2k. Meaning that this man is going to be pushing through with an undeniable force. And now, Rams to accompany them. Now the Rams, not just the front line, but also a very good farm destroyer.
Yeah, I mean, just taking down all the infrastructure here. This is going to be tough for Puppypaw. I mean, he had a lot of wood in the bank, but still, it's so difficult to replenish these farms. But actually, never mind. He's just going straight for the keep. Boiling oil is being researched at the moment, but it's not coming in nearly quickly enough. And now these Rams, they're going to immediately start doing some damage here. At least Puppypaw does have the keep to help him out damage-wise, but still not nearly enough units now. We do see the Siege Workshop getting rushed up here in the back, but the Rams are already working on the keep. It's going down really quickly now. And yeah, this looks like Puppypaw cannot hold on much longer. We do see a raid coming in onto these cattle ranches, but maybe that's just a tad bit too late, as Vortex is just starting to overrun Puppypaw's base now. Villagers getting out, trying to burn down those Rams, but it is just not enough. Vortex able to take game number 1. This was a drawn-out game between Wus and Malians, but in the end, just this absolute reinforcement mass here from Vortex, and the economy just being there as well, winning him the game.
Now, that mangonel, it came out, but it came about 20 minutes too late, as Twitch chat is noting. I can see how Rus feels like such a strong pick to get on a map like this. But VortiX said he knew how to handle it, and the answer was Marlians. Absolutely amazingly played here by VortiX. I feel like both players, they were feeling out when the other one was going to be making a mistake, and they just did an amazing job at exploiting this. Now, taking down a civilization like Rus on Gorge before 45 minutes, may I add, this feels pretty good for VortiX. The thing is now, there's a Mongol versus Aeobids waiting for us, and honestly, I feel like this could be a pretty tough one. Either way, because Mongols, they are definitely favored, theoretically, based on their win rates recently, but Aeobids is of course like technically a counter to them, because every unit that you get out of the Kaganet Palace is just a horse, you know, or a palace guard. So
or a nest of bee.
Or a nest of bee, yes. So in theory, with all the horse archers and the Mangudais and the knights, you do have a lot of answers in the Aeobids' pocket, but it's still pretty tough. They also do get to go for military wing, though.
Yeah, this is gonna be an interesting one in the end, right? Like, the Mangudai as well, they aren't that great up against the Desert Raider, at least for a good while, but once you get up to Imperial Age, there are a ton of upgrades which actually make the Mangudai a lot better than the Desert Raiders in the end. They just scale a lot better with the attack speed that they have, and once you get the +2 bonus damage upgrade with the improved upgrade for the Mangudai, combine that with Incendiaries, with all the +1 damage upgrades and the bonus range and whatnot, you get a Khan Hunter in there as well, and suddenly the Mangudai, even with the 20% damage nerf, they're still going to be doing like 13 to 14 damage with every single shot. And against a unit like the Desert Raider, which doesn't have Pierce Armor, they absolutely shred them. And just being a mobile raiding unit, it's very, very valuable.
Now, Baltoon is saying that Max Desert Raiders is better than Max Mangudai. The thing is, Mongols is pretty
I think
good.
I think he's fake. I think he's just fake backseating.
Well, when we get to that point of the game, but usually I don't feel like they allow you to get to that point on the Mongols, of course. But on Scandinavia, we will see who reigns supreme on the water and try to secure the other one. But it looks like our game is ready to start. Oh my goodness!
Already.
We saw our faces for a second, Crackety, but there's already the water shenanigans on the field. VortiX, he's going for a dock, ladies and gentlemen. What a surprise! This is Scandinavia.
Some good old water shenanigans coming in here. What do we have here? Puppypaw, of course, with the Mongols in the color yellow. Do already have that Ubu out, and you know, this is one of those Mongol spawns where you look at it and you're like, where's my gold? Where's my stone? Where'd it go? It's very far out. It's very, very far out. Now, the question is Puppypaw gonna be going for a dock early on? It does appear to be the case, so we will be getting a dock from both sides here very early on in the game.
Now, seeing Mongols again, now going for a dock, I mean, it makes sense on this map, right? You're not necessarily going to get enough spearmen out to actually burn down your opponent's dock by the time you do. And we'll see now what the answer is from Aeobids, because I know that some people prefer to go for the military wing, some people prefer to go for the eco, and some people even go for industry in this case. But of course, a favorite is your dervishes, ensuring that you do get those dervishes out. Now, that's my question to you, Crackety, because you are basically our high-level consultant here. What is the wing that you go for in this matchup?
Typically, if your opponent's going for aggression on your dock, you're going to be going for the advancement wing, just because then you'll be getting the age up in quickly enough in order to react to anything that's going on there. But looks like VortiX did scout out the dock that's coming in from Puppypaw as well, so we'll know, okay, he can take his time with the age up. So I think right now, probably something along the lines of economic wing growth, or maybe even logistics could be the case, getting some additional dervishes in and then just utilizing them for a play in feudal age as well. Could be the case. Either those two wings work. I don't think we're going to get a reinforcement wing in immediately. Yeah, I think probably like economic wing growth or logistics. I think that makes the most sense here in this situation.
Now both of these players are going to be a little bit delayed as we edge up now, as is normal as we go onto the water. But the Khan is an annoying man who's just screeching with his falcon, hitting villagers left and right. Definitely not a man we want to be fighting at this stage of the game. Vortex's villagers taking it like champions, and eventually we'll be backing off to the TC. That villager, though, he's out for blood. He's going to kill that sheep right in front of the Khan.
He says, enough! And he's taking one of the sheep. And, we actually don't get economic ring growth. Instead, Vortex switches that one up to industry wing. So he's going to be getting an immediate boost to his wood income. And yeah, I mean, that's just one big wood income boost there for you. It's not really something, I want to say, that's sustainable or like helps you scale in a long-term way, but means that he is at the very least going to have a lot of wood immediately to make sure that he wins his side on water.
Now, Puppypaw does have quite a bit of sheep he needs to bring back to base. He doesn't want any more victims to be slain there next to the gold mine. But after dropping those bad boys off, he's definitely going to go and harass just a little bit more. But we do see with the deer stones, we know what this usually means. And now, of course, deer stones is the choice that we see out of people here. But the dock from VortiX is on the water. And we had an interview with VortiX last week, and he said he was born, or he lives very close to the water. So he was born next to the water. It's his language. He knows how to handle this. And this is also something that I think a lot of people usually don't do. They don't want to play water against someone like VortiX or Lucifron. So let's see if he is going to be able to show us the proper commanding VortiX action on this pond. Now, I would love to see if Puppypaw decides to go for a second dock on the other side as well. But honestly, it would probably just be the safer choice to try and keep this one lake going. So we do see something being built around the Uwu there, though, and I am excited to find out what that could be as a stable. Ooh, he's going for Kashix. Crackety, we've been seeing a lot of Kashix today, and no Mangadai.
Puppypaw also scouting out the stable that is coming, not the stable, the second dock that is coming in here from VortiX, is putting up his own second dock now, and he does have a lot of stone in the bank, so can be putting up some naval emplacements here as well. And with the age of VortiX immediately getting a big boost to his wood bank, immediately able to queue up some ships there. Puppypaw, though, should be able to get this dock up in time.
Now the Khan is being a little annoyed. That villager taking a little bit of a beating here as well. Does need to return. But with the double dock, he's going to make this a pretty difficult battle on the water. Puppypaw investing in that Kashik, though. If you do get the double Kashik out, it makes land a lot harder to handle. Now, considering that Aeobids do not have the opportunity to move their TC, that just means a wood line that does become a lot harder to control. But Puppypaw is not investing too much just yet on this water. He is getting his first galley. We'll see if he queues up another military ship. But for now, that looks to be another fishing ship coming out of that dock. Oh no, never mind, it's just emplacements. Oh my goodness, I missed it.
Naval Aeroslits now coming in, gonna be able to do some damage with those. Puppypaw being very active here, making sure that his fishing ships are gonna be able to stay alive. Yeah, for the time being, Puppypaw is looking pretty solid here on water, able to bide his time and maybe able to come back with a military force there as well. Not quite over yet, though. He does still need to be quite worry about what's coming next. Might need to make some more ships. Currently, it doesn't look like his economy is too focused on water, as we do see Kashix potentially trying to go for some raids in the woodline there as well. Able to pick off one of the villagers there as well.
Now, it does look like with those Kashix, he's going to have that ground palace, but the Desert Raiders ×2 is coming on out. He does not want this to be a regular occurrence, but with the Khan's arrow, he's able to see, he's able to charge. Then does he connect? He does connect, but it's not going to be enough to cost the life of another villager, and the Desert Raider now has something to say about this.
Yeah, Desert Raider is definitely going to be able to deal with those Kashix now. We do get another bunch of Kashix in next. Now we also starting to see some more ships coming in here for Puppypaw, and I mean, he just bought himself so much time here with that naval defensive emplacement. The issue is that behind this, he hasn't really been scaling his economy too much, and kind of Vortex definitely has been getting a lot of food income. He is leading, even though he lost a villager when it comes to the economy count, and now with the TC, just hopping inside there and able to get some fire in there on those Keshiks, able to take them down. And yeah, I mean, now we are seeing the archer range getting rushed up by Puppypaw. It's definitely going to need some archers up against the Desert Raiders. Don't think that Mangadai are going to be able to do anything, at least not in feudal age. They don't really do too well there.
Now, if he does go for the Mangadai, and he goes for the actual archers, so the archers definitely a good choice against the Desert Raiders if those Desert Raiders decide to come on out. Now, the water is starting to heat up a bit. Vortex, he is taking a bit of fire on that side, but it doesn't look like he's investing too much more onto that lake. But Puppypaw is making a move onto his lake on the other side. So that's going to mean that those ships do not just get to be there for free. If we can take a look at that, yes, the boat has been chased.
Ooh.
Boats have been chased off the fishing, and this will delay Vortex's economy by quite a bit. He's not going to have free reigns on that water anymore. And this was maybe a little bit greedy here by Vortex, just not making any military ships on that side to actually control the lake and the shorelines. So, beautiful follow-up here by Puppypaw.
And Desert Raider count looking very solid. Puppypaw already close to having enough stone in the bank for yet another naval emplacement, aeroslit emplacement there, just to further control the water over on Vortex's side. And right now, villagers, though, are going to have to evacuate in. There we go, naval aeroslits coming in yet again. Means that now on water, Puppypaw, he's going to be able to just annoy Vortex by quite a bit yet again. As we do see those two galleys, just two archer ships here, pulling that Bagla just apart here, as it doesn't really know where it has to go at any one point in time.
It feels like he needs to be in two places at the same time, because these guys are making it so tough. And at the same time, our observers, they're trying to keep track of this and that and top and bottom, and now the camels onto the gold. So it looks like there is just a non-stop fight. Demo ship about to make a connection. Camels, they do not pick off a villager, but there's a lot of them, and they need to be careful. But the archers do make a pretty good target fire on these guys. And the Keshiks now running at the speed of Khan Arrow to try and catch up with these Desert Raiders. The eco is idle for Vortex right now, but it does look like he took a favorable trade on water. Now the Keshiks are going to be taking a fight. They do not love to take against those camels.
And they're going to have to fall back at least for a time being. But behind this, Puppypaw is doing a great amount of damage here over on the side of Vortex. Needs to be very careful. Does not want to lose. That ship almost gets the connection in against that Bagla, but just almost. But I mean, these naval aeroslits here so far, they've been doing so much work, but now the horsemen are coming in. They're going to be able to do a great job up against these archers at this point in time now as well. No spearmen yet to be seen, but Puppypaw is going to be able to save his Keshiks by getting them close to the water shoreline.
Now those horsemen, they are just eating at everything in their path. But now the Keshiks, they are taking a fight.
There's a demo ship.
That's
not active though. Oh, he's lost the entirety.
It was a big moment that we could have witnessed there with that demo ship, but I don't think he made the connection as he wanted. Those camels did end up eating everything they needed to. But the water has been under siege here for a while, so we can see that in both their economies. 500 food per minute now on both sides. Not an optimal amount, but the difference is here. Vortex has the units, he's got rocks, paper, and the only thing that Puppy has is scissors. So he is definitely going to struggle with that raid. Now on top, beautiful connection here yet again, and the water trellis is here. The horsemen on top of the archers. Villagers getting target fired here by the Desert Raiders, absolutely obliterating them, and he does lose a bunch here, and the horses just absolutely destroying everything in their path. The Khan has been killed.
That's just a cherry on the top, right? Behind this, Vortex now taking down not just the villagers here, but also a lot of the fishing ships there, which Puppypaw did invest heavily into. We can tell, because even though he lost so many economy units, he's still even, if not ahead in the economy count. And that's just courtesy of all the fishing ships that he invested into. But now they're idled out. He does have the double naval arrow slits emplacements here, which are actually going to be able to somewhat pierce through all of this fire. Dildo needs to be able to get onto that back line. We do get even more archer ships here. Instead, though, as Puppypaw, he just doesn't have gold access yet again. Villagers now going down on the gold vein. VortiX is just being relentless, still diving deeper with the horseman, diving underneath the TC. And Puppypaw, he just can't get him out of his base.
And it just looks like
No spearmen.
No spearmen, and it's such a hard thing to invest to now because your Uwu is all the way out there. You want it to be optimal, but right now you just need something. The horseman, though, the numbers are non-stop. He's got the wood for the barracks. He just doesn't have the food right now because that economy has been idled out completely. The battle on the water took forever. And Puppypaw, he now has a moment to breathe and bring in some food and try to get back to this. But now he's spending that wood on another ship. He needs to get some kind of dominance. The camels are all dead, but 13 horsemen make this very, very risky business.
12 archer ships still trying to get some damage in, missing all their shots, unfortunately, and yet again, villagers getting found on the gold vein as Puppypaw is once again trying to rush up some outposts there, not managing to do so, however, as these horsemen, they're just tanky enough in order to very easily deal with these outposts, and now we do see Pierce Armor also coming in for Puppypaw, which is going to make it even easier for him to dive past those. Archer ship is going to get repaired here as well, so it's going to be able to stay alive. VortiX behind us now soon going to be able to go up to Castle Age, probably with the logistics wing, and just vacuum up all the relics on the map.
Oh, crackety. You smart man. You just call it every single time. Look at that logistics coming on out. Now, guys, these things become the vacuum cleaners of Castle because they do not die. Holding a relic, they run like Ferraris. They're just going all around the map, doing everything they want, vacuuming the relics, and those horsemen are going to keep every single land unit very, very engaged. So now the villagers are snacking away on that gold, but this is not the Mongols we're used to seeing on this map. Those towers getting some emplacements as well, desperately trying to get the emplacements in time. But you can see him feigning this aggression, this I'm still making units, I'm still staying in feudal, I'm still trying to fight you, so that Puppypaw invests into more units and delays his castle age even longer.
I can't really delay it much longer though, VortiX. It's only going to be a minute until he hits the age up. Now, Puppypaw did manage to reinvest economic-wise a good bit, so economy count, somehow it's even at this point in time, but the income definitely doesn't feel even, as VortiX has a lot more villagers than Puppypaw does, and it's mainly just the ships, but ships aren't that efficient compared to a villager, at least.
Now with Puppypaw, he is fishing. And what I want to point out here, guys, when you have this many fishing boats on the water, it doesn't necessarily bode for, like a really good economy, because what ends up happening is you just end up overfishing. And those fishing ships will just go from little pond to little fish patch, trying to desperately get a little bit of fish that keeps on running out. So eventually, at some point, the amount of fishing ships is just not going to pay off. Like Rackety said, VortiX has more villagers, and that is going to prove a lot better the later this game goes. 5 seconds until that age up hits. He's got the gold in the bank. He's going to be getting those upgrades pretty quickly. Wheelbarrow on the way as well, and we see Camel Lancers, 4 of them instantly queued up. Puppypaw knows he needs to fight this right now, and a beautiful connection here from Puppypaw. He's trying to make it work right now. He knows this is a little bit of a timing here, that he might have an opening to kill something. But VortiX, he's snacking. Maybe just stacking a little bit too hard as well.
Oh, this is still dangerous. War Junk does go down here now at the front side, and it's so many Camel Lancers that are coming in now. Webben, and behind this, Relics just getting absolutely vacuumed up. The Cambulance is just running around, picking them up, loading them in, and taking them out for a hike. And behind this, I mean, Puppypaw is doing his best massing up those spearmen now. But how many spearmen can you, like, the count is so even almost, spearmen to Camel Lance, at least when it comes to, if we include the ones that are in queue. And when the count is even, the Spearman might as well not exist.
Now, the count of the Camel Lancers is going to make this a lot harder, because those Keshiks, they are great as the front line right now, but soon enough they are going to melt too. The Spearmen, they are going to struggle when these numbers increase. Like you said, right now there's 3, but the rest are joining pretty quickly. We already have 3 relics on the side of VortiX. He is trying his best to just keep that economy going and pumping. And Puppypaw, he wants to get castle. But if he ages up now, it feels like he's dead. If he doesn't age up, he's also dead. Because this army just keeps getting scarier and scarier, and VortiX slowly trying to get control back of the water, but he knows he's just invested, and he's slowing down for just a second. Now the villagers getting pulled off of gold here, but there's a pretty big army to defend them. Camels trying to make some things work, but they do get a villager who pay a pretty dear price. The archer numbers are quite significant here right now.
And Puppypaw is able to get that timing for his own age up in. Don't think it's going to be a step out. Yeah, Kurultai it is. He needs army strength right now, so no real option other than going for the Kurultai now. Behind this, we'll most likely be seeing just more Spearmen, more archers, but this is a tough situation. VortiX, he's getting in the 5th relic behind this. One of the sacred sites already taken as well, and now VortiX also transitioning into archers and mass camel lancers plus archers. Well, that's just a very, very strong army composition, but the Kurultai can still make things interesting here.
Now, we do see the army numbers swinging very heavily one way, but the value, it tells a very different story. The archer numbers now increasing, archer upgrades coming as well, plus 2. Oh no, plus 1 ranged attack just coming on in. So this is a bit of a tech switch is going to give Puppypaw a little bit of breathing room, and all of a sudden he doesn't look so dead anymore. The Kurultai has to be respected. This is a landmark that makes sure that Mongols can take some pretty favorable fights here. Crossbows now joining that list of units that is going to be able to handle these Camel Lancers, but those Camel Lancer numbers, they're so scary. So many of them, but VortiX's eco on the water does seem to be quite lacking.
Lacking at least in comparison. Veterancy upgrades now coming in for Puppypaw. We're seeing an army mixture here of crossbows and men-at-arms going to be the follow-up. We are also seeing Outpost preparing the next gold vein here now for him. Kurultai is moving forward, needs to deploy rather sooner than later. Fight still going back and forth. Yamara helping Puppypaw out a lot here when it comes to the army repositioning and making sure that on the retreat, Spearmen aren't going to be lost.
He's trying his best to target fire these, but the villagers are now forward. The Camel Lancers, they have a new target, but they do need to back off. Respecting this army, VortiX is taking some very calculated risks. Now, as these archers are trying to focus fire, these crossbows, the Spearmen, they need to be careful not to overextend. Under the Kurultai here, this feels so risky.
This is very risky.
Connection, Krakeny. Will there be a connection? The Spearmen are just running back and forth. It feels like there's so much that he needs to focus on.
So many archers already. More than 20 archers, 17 Camel Lancers. Puppypaw, he's just getting thoroughly outmassed now, and the army value is always just so far ahead for VortiX. All these archers are still just feudal age archers, no veterancy on them. So even with the Kurultai buff, they're not doing that much damage here. The emplacements on the outpost just doesn't feel like it's going to be enough. A second Sprinkle emplacement is coming in behind this. Puppypaw diving deeper and deeper inside of his base, trying to seek some sort of shelter here, but it's not enough. Puppypaw, he is getting just completely massacred inside of his own base. There is nowhere left to run. Pretty much no military remaining now. And now VortiX, he can just take his time. The armored units just taking down building after building after building. And no way out now for Puppypaw. No safety, no way to remass the units. There's just no way back for him in this one. And VortiX, he's going to be able to take the second game in the set now.
And this must feel pretty good for VortiX, because again, Mongols is a massive pickup, especially on this map. Manjanique now joining that army. He's going to be raining fire from the skies, just ensuring that these buildings all fall one by one. The water may have been taken over by Puppy, but VortiX knew exactly where to execute it on land when it got a little tough. Puppypaw, though, it looks like he's trying to hold on to this. He's getting those towers reinforced as well. And there's a market. Now, I don't think we're going to have time for a Coconut Palace, but Puppypaw might be thinking he could live for a little bit longer, just getting the reinforcements up, more crossbows. He says crossbows might be my answer here, just maxing out as many as he can.
And this is a tale as old as time. The mass Manganique play now. Fire from the skies. All of these outposts, they're looking intimidating at the moment. Tons of sprinkled emplacements coming in. Puppypaw buying himself some semblance of security inside of his base, but man, once those fiery rocks are being hurled at your base, these outposts suddenly don't look so tough anymore.
Oh, that outpost, he is just gonna go on down. Guys, just like the professionals always say, everyone has a plan until there are, how many? 14 camel lances in your base and 2 Manganiques just firing at every single building you've ever owned. The villagers now, they are a little bit idle here at the back as the food is running low for Mr. VortiX, so he does need to move out and find some alternative arrangements. Manganiques a little far forward now, VortiX losing a little bit of focus here as one of these Manganiques will go down. The camels charging in, trying to stop down any disrespect towards his Manganiques, he says. Camels getting a great surround, but at the same time the archers have one thing in mind, and those are just the crossbows.
Triple sprinkled emplacement here with the outposts right next to each other. It just doesn't feel enough. There's still a sacred site just ticking down behind this, as observers pointing out. And we're just going to see another Manganique coming up to replace the one that has been lost. Behind us also, we got the Dervish healing units up behind everything. And even though Puppypaw has greater economy units, he is not in a good spot, not nearly good enough. Military-wise, it's just such a stark difference here at the moment. We're seeing a lot of stables getting dropped now in the back. Is what is he really going for here? Maybe mass horseman, because at the moment it actually looks like VortiX is starting to lose a little bit of the reproduction ability when it comes to the cavalry.
Now the cavalry does mean they are quite expensive. Oh, we see 180 food per minute now on VortiX's side. There's a little farm transition in his future, and it is going to slow down the push. Or actually, no, he says instead of farms, we'll just go for Manganiques. I don't
just
need
make
to make
units
camels.
that don't cost food.
That's the big brain play right now. With the amount of units we see here on the sides on the water for Puppypaw, the waters are going to not be allowed to be touched. But Puppypaw, he's holding on to a dream. He's got the food, and he's got a dream. But that's all he's got. He has a cool tie as well. That thing may provide some semblance of hope, but as these fishing ships are depleting, they are also going to be slowing down quite a bit. Cruel Tide finding its place now. Manganiques trying to burn down everything in their wake. That's exactly what they will be able to do.
And these Manganiques, I mean, all the infrastructure here is in great danger now. You don't really even have the ability to repair these buildings because just the AoE radius of these flaming rocks, it is so large. Puppypaw all behind this. He's been able to mass up a pretty good mass, actually, of horsemen now behind us. He does have very solid food income overall. The question, of course, is it going to be a Nath Khan out here trying to decap the sacred site? Does have some support coming in from those archer ships. Doesn't quite look like it's going to be enough, though, as there's more camel lances coming in, so the decap attempt is not going to be successful, and Khan, unfortunately, is going to be going down there. We didn't get a notification, maybe because it was in the water. He was swimming.
Now, the rest of this does feel a little tough, because you have the Sacred Site timer just ticking away. Manganiques just firing away at the main TC. And I know that Puppypaw knows he needs to make a move, and he needs to make it soon. We see that the horseman numbers are increasing so much. He knows this is a ticking time bomb. The towers now getting dropped forward. VortiX pushing his opponent all the way into the corner. He says, if you want to stay alive, you're going to have to work for it, but not on my map.
I mean, Puppypaw's always able to move his buildings, but how much further back do you really want to move, right? And yeah, it's just more and more of these Manganiks coming in, and they're just destroying everything here at the front. All the infrastructure going down. The Kurultai now also catching on fire. You have to keep that one alive. It needs to be up there for the next fight. We're seeing villagers now getting pulled, trying to keep that Kurultai alive. And now the big mass of Puppypaw's army is moving out, but the Kurultai is still not deployed yet. The villagers are actually keeping it from being deployed. Puppypaw needs to move back. The building. It's not coming up. Is it? Oh god, it hurts to look at. It hurts to look at the AI, the building placement, new AI. It's not really a gracious move for them to move out like that. But there we go. Kurultai is up. Lots of shots though on the back line have gone through. Horsemen trying their best here at the front line, up against an armored unit though. Is this going to be enough from Puppypaw? It doesn't look like it. All the horsemen have been shredded. They're completely torn apart. Nothing left. Still so many camel lances remaining. And Puppypaw just cannot defeat this army.
That was an amazing engagement from Puppypaw though. With that Kurultai, if it was on the ground in time, this may have been a different story. The villagers now paying the price. The rest of them getting healed up a little bit, but just a little bit too little. As these guys are just creeping forward. Mangonels firing back at the TC now. We have landmark victory approaching. We have sacred victory approaching. And we have the mental victory approaching because Vortex is tiring out Puppypaw. Puppypaw is giving it his all. Trying every angle he possibly can. Vortex now putting a keep up over here too. He wants to secure this and Puppypaw, he's pulled the boys. The boys are going to try and decap this. Mangonels trying their best to try and to get that back line. These archers are doing work. They're struggling a little bit against all of these horses. But it does look like that keep will keep that sacred victory going.
And it's just 1 minute remaining. Puppypaw, he's got so many horsemen in queue. VortiX, he's on 0 food per minute. He is committed. We see every single... Never mind. For a second, I thought the villager pull was coming in, but no, they are just making some farms inside of his base. But there needs to be a move out now onto the sacred side if Puppy wants to stay in this game. It is such a tough spot for him at the moment. But maybe if Puppypaw just gets the decap in at the bottom sacred side, we do see units moving towards it. At the same time, also villagers moving towards it. A keep getting put up there. Sacred side timer stopped at least for the time being, but the decap, it's not going to go through. The keep is going to go up.
And it does look like these horses are going to be able to stand on here, get it a little bit decapped, and possibly be able to get that. No, the villagers are going to stand on top practically.
No.
They're going to pause that bad
keep.
boy. Oh no. And this is going to keep on ticking. But now the main TC is down as well. You can see those villagers desperately trying to repair. The archers just making sure that this Mongol is not going to be seeing a Kaganet anytime this game. It's now 2-0. Vortex looking good.
This was, I want to say, a classic Vortex game with just how absolutely all in the end was there. He was just like, okay, if the map doesn't have any more food, then I don't need any more food. And that was absolutely crazy. The all in there, in the end, able to completely just keep those two sacred sites under his control. Even though he was about to lose the fight at the front side, the sacred sites just ticking behind it all, winning him the game there.
Now, this was a pretty pivotal fight as well. Just the fact that Vortex was able to ensure that this gold shall not be touched, and if you do touch it, you will die. Villagers dying left and right. The camels just target firing everything they can. Look at these beautiful horseman raids. But guys, we have a map that we don't get to see that much. Excavation. Lancaster versus China. And let me tell you, China, they are not as prominent on this map as Lancaster. So maybe Puppypaw is going to be able to pull this out so we don't get another 3-0 this series.
Honestly, I think like China, they probably just won't play this map to its features, to say the least. Like, they'll probably just ignore the bonus stone income that you can get here, and instead focus on just going maybe Pro Scout, getting Knights out, and just trying to overwhelm the House of Lancaster. Meanwhile, House of Lancaster, they can play it to their strengths, but yeah, it is going to be an interesting one to say the least when it comes to the timings, when it comes to see just how the spawns work out here now for these players. And Excavation, we do have some very interesting features here. So don't forget, Excavation, we do have a lot of these runes, excavation sites, where once you capture them up as a point of interest, you will be able to put a villager inside, and that villager is going to generate 60 gold per minute for, I think, a maximum of 300 gold gathered, stone gathered overall. And once they gather the full amount of stone, they are going to excavate a relic there. So that's the way that you're actually able to get relics here. There aren't any relics anywhere else out on that map. I believe there might be one in the middle, but other than that, all the relics are inside of the excavation site. Actually, none. Yeah, they're all inside the excavation sites. No other way to get relics there on that map.
So you do actually have to put some work in for it, right? Now, I do want to take a moment to just look at the rest of the maps, though, because this is now Puppy's moment. Puppy needs to win this, otherwise he's donezo. Just like we saw today with all the other 3-0s. But Puppypaw is the kind of guy who could pull this off. See, Vortex is not in the clear just yet, but if we look at this draft, ladies and gents, he's still got HRE. He's still got Ottomans. This man has a lot of answers on these maps, and Puppypaw, he's gonna have to put up a pretty strong fight here. Frisian Marshes is a map that I feel like Vortex is super comfortable on. And Dry River, no, it's not that dry. It's got some fish. The man, born next to the sea, he was bred and born for this. So I think Puppypaw is gonna have a pretty hard time, even if this Lancaster game goes perfectly.
Yeah, now being 2 points behind obviously is a pretty tough hit when it comes to mentality as well. But Puppypaw, he is a player that has come back from, I want to say, like, worse positions. Granted, it doesn't get much worse than match point against your opponent. But I want to say, like, in a best of 7, for example, Puppypaw has been known from coming back from situations where it could have been a complete sweep and getting those reverse sweeps in. And, I mean, honestly, once you get the reverse sweep in, doesn't it just feel all the sweeter once you actually do manage to get that?
And I see Twitch chat just sitting here snacking like, yeah, we're gonna get that reverse sweep. Yes, guys, we're gonna be here until 1 a.m. I hope you're ready. Get your snacks, get your tea, get your coffee. We've got a lot of matches ahead of us. Now, guys, after this, we do have finally our top 4 in this event, which I absolutely love. I was talking to Beastie about this yesterday. The fact that we had triple elimination was so sweet, because we got to see a different side to everyone. You didn't just get seed 1 against seed 16. You got to see them at every level of the game. And honestly, what more could we ask for? So EGC, always cranking out the best type of entertainment here. But ladies and gents, it is time for Lancaster versus China. We're about to roll on in and see who will be excavating all those beautiful relics.
It is match point. Vortex currently sitting on that 2-0 up against Puppypaw. Puppypaw spawning in the color blue here as the House of Lancaster, and we're here on Excavation. And not just excavating, but we're also seeing a Dark Age barracks coming in. Puppypaw making use of the Spearman in order to capture up these excavation sites here. Just wanting to get that stone in nice and early here means that he's going to be able to drop these manors all the earlier. And yeah, on the other side, Vortex, he's just opening up the normal way for China, so very likely we'll just be seeing that Pro Scout coming in here, because this map has the normal, most regular amount of deer in the game. You're getting 2 packs of 7 deer per player, so Pro Scout, it's not overly strong, but it's not weak as well. It's just normal. It's just standing there, looking at you, waving you, telling you, hey, have a nice day. And overall, not making much more of an impression on you.
Well, Pro Scouts is already a pretty big impression, right? Pro Scouts, they impress when the units start coming. They impress when you don't shut it down. In China, they will impress you with the amount of overwhelmment that you'll feel when there is a bunch of lances in your base as well. So Puppypaw, he cannot sit back and be greedy here. I actually need to. I would love to see how these top players decide to play this map because a lot of people have just been vetoing it. It's been a very strange map to handle. People have been very unsure about what they need to do on this map and how to play it most effectively. But Puppypaw now, he's got the spears at the gold, and to be fair, this is China. They don't care that much, but they definitely care when they want to go pro scouts.
They do have to care here quite a bit, actually. Oh, we do see a villager going down. Oh, this is massive, actually. VortiX, he does not have enough gold to make an Imperial official. Not even from the landmark with a discount.
Oh.
Doesn't have enough.
That is massive. And here I was saying China doesn't care.
He knows he needs to gather. He's gonna get it in time. Just gonna move back. Yeah, he's gonna get enough.
The problem is just him getting enough. These are very, very wounded villagers. And it is going to be quite hard to keep this going. Now...
Is it enough?
Does he? He doesn't
It's
have enough.
just enough. It's just enough.
It's 36. How much is it?
I think it's 35. So yeah, just enough.
He made it.
Quite clutch there, but also means that VortiX cannot go for an immediate Pro Scout play here. So Pro Scouts is going to get delayed. Puppypaw does delay the Lancaster Castle a little bit as well, but does have that villager inside the excavation site, so already has enough stone for his first manor.
Now, getting that first mana out feels so sweet, but it's always strange because, you know, I'm not really going to do anything urgently after that. I've got my manor, I'm letting my eco tick, and usually when you take such a big advantage, it feels like it snowballs so quickly. But with Lancaster, you need that time. And this is time for VortiX to force mistakes out of you. Now we'll see if Puppypaw has any mistakes left in him, because honestly, I feel like Puppypaw right now, he knows this matters. This is the moment he needs this to work out. So he's probably going to be playing this very safely.
That's going to be a question here. I mean, VortiX, he now needs to get enough wood in for an archer range. There's just no way about it. But Puppypaw, he's already let off the gold here. Is maybe looking for another excavation site and potentially just get another villager out there. Get more stone in that way as well. That could be the play here for him. Yeah, indeed. It's starting to capture up that next excavation site. And this now age up is gonna be finishing up any second now. VortiX, did he make that archer range? He did make a building inside of his base. And that is an archer range? Yeah, he is making that archer range. That is very nice for Puppypaw as well, considering that he already left the base of VortiX.
Now, getting an archery range here is pretty nice anyway, because China, they don't mind going for a pretty heavy composition from there on out. But Puppypaw will probably go for the natural counter, because he knows what VortiX is going to do, and he definitely knows now that the scout has spotted exactly what's waiting for him. Now, this is going to mean that VortiX is going to be able to go back onto that gold as he wants, but at the same time, it feels like Puppypaw has gotten what he needs to get from this little push. The villager now going inside to excavate what he needs to get. Villager, goodbye. That's so cute.
It just suddenly becomes so tiny in those little runes there.
They probably climb down very deeply. So when we zoom in, oh my goodness, he's just sitting down on their knees. Oh my goodness. Relic,
you know, you remember you remember how like we had those first cinematic trailers for Age of Empires 4 and the units were much smaller then? Mm-hmm. I kind of wish that there was a mod to have them that small in game as well. But like, the issue with mods is that you can only really have them in like custom games. I want to have these kind of mods in like ranked games as well, and like UI mods.
Yeah. See, this is the great thing about adding skins to a game. You could always just switch them off, you know, if you don't like them. But siege engineering...
Oh, okay.
He completed siege... He completed...
He did. We're seeing an archer push, okay. VortiX, he's going ham. We're seeing the classic VortiX fast ramp push now.
Trackety, just quickly check your bingo list. Was this on the bingo list?
Let me check. It actually was not.
Wow, VortiX getting yet another tick on the bingo card. that we will be adding to next week's bingo as Vortex just makes the game happen. The thing is, though, Puppypaw might... the tree lines, guys, the tree lines are just... never mind.
Are we getting Demi-Lancers, though? We're getting Demi-Lancers. That's going to be 5 of them. That might be enough. 5 Demi-Lancers might be enough.
With +1 attack, those archers might actually be a little bit hard to handle. And Vortex is getting more gold. Crackety. What is he gonna get with all that gold?
Those guys potentially down the line.
No.
This is reminding me of the Anatan build that we had, right?
Right now? Professional scouts in this economy while there's a ram in your opponent's base and all your archers are tucked inside? Dragovan, what are you doing? So,
the clown car coming in here. But Puppypaw, he's getting very close to his own age up, and now with the Demi-Lance, is able to catch off reinforcements, and there's only 8 archers inside of that ram. It's not gonna be enough.
And he seems to respect that now that the reinforcements have been picked off. This could be a very, very expensive ram loss. Because if all those archers go down without getting at least 2 or 3 villager kills, even then, it feels so expensive to get. The archers focus firing Demi-Lancer, but they are absolutely eating them. The wolf is joining the fight as well, and these archers let the bodies hit the floor. They're in shambles right now. The wolf will be joining them on the ground as well with the fallen warriors.
Yeah, and Vortex realized, okay, this fight did not work out in my favor, and now next up is going to be the Age up. Is it going to be the King's College or the White Tower? It is going to be the White Tower on the deer, meaning that Puppypaw is going to have a lot of food to play with once he gets the Age up in.
Now, this army that we have here from Puppypaw just means that Puppypaw is kind of in the driver's seat right now. He's got the manors, he's got the castle, and all that Vortex has is pro scouts that is about to be scouted and then shut down completely. So this does feel quite difficult for Vortex from here on out. It was a very risky move that will not pay off right now.
Yeah, right now, definitely not looking too good for him. He's very far behind when it comes to his own Age up timing. Is at the very least going to be getting those deer in. And China isn't that slow when it comes to following up now with the tech timings. Still, you can't help but feel like so far this has not played out well for Vortex, considering that he did invest into that RAM, did invest into all of these blacksmith upgrades, and in the end didn't really benefit from him. Now we see Puppypaw adding in his own Earl Scouts, not just the ones that he got from the White Tower, and a Knight as well. He's just going to start pushing forward with those units now.
And those Demi-Lancers, they take on a different shape when Puppypaw hits castle. You can see those archers are barely doing anything. They are being quickly sliced in half. And now the Demi-Lancers, they are staying a little bit long, so one of them will go down. But the pro scouts have been shut down. And even though they will eventually pay off, it definitely delayed his opponent so much. And Vortex, now China does not feel as scary as we usually feel about China. Those gods, ooh, crackety. These guys, they are going to be destroying. They are looking for a target, though. Slowly sneaking
And they do
around.
have very long range as well on their dagger throw. Getting Pierce Armor in behind all of this as well. You see they're getting ready to throw the daggers. It's some target now. Behind this, ooh, Vortex. I think this might have been a little misread here from him. He might have been expecting just Knight straight away, not the Earl's Guards. Get it in 2 barracks now in order to maybe get some spearmen in. But there aren't that many lances. It's mostly just going to be Earl's Guards coming in.
And the movements from his units just spell absolute panic. Oh, another one of those going, oh, crackety, I can't watch. Every unit is just gonna die under the TC. The archers are doing their best, but the astronomical clock tower is being made. The problem is, it cannot make magic happen. The Knight is just destroying everything in front of him, and Vortex has had enough. Puppypaw has broken the 3-0 curse.
No more 3-0s today. We are getting a game number 4, ladies and gentlemen, and in this one, House of Lancaster able to reign supreme. The failed ramp push here from Vortex, meaning that Puppypaw has more than enough time to hit his own castle age timing, and in the end, once these armored units are coming in, they're going to be able to find some good damage here, and we can tell at the end there that economy count from VortiX, it was just about to take a nosedive there.
Puppypaw reading this perfectly, understanding his civilization and the timings that go with it. VortiX preparing for knights, just not expecting the real powerhouse, the real damage coming on out. And I see a little Japan versus HRE, but Crackety in Twitch chat, that is going to be a flip-flop as VortiX has HRE. So this is a pretty tough matchup to be part of. Now, we know Japan, they do have quite a bit of answers to what HRE does, but HRE is still HRE. There's a reason it gets banned every game. And this is going to be a very tough game for Puppypaw.
I honestly think Japan is definitely like not bad in this one, like at all. I quite like what Japan has on the table here, even up against the HRE. I think there's a lot of value in their pick here as well. Overall, we're also on Dry River, so maybe could see some dock play coming in as well, scale the economy a little bit that way. And with HRE, you always have to remember that if they go for the Archon Chapel, there's a limited duration of how long they're going to buff up their economy with that, because eventually the resources around the Archon Chapel are going to run out, then you're going to have to invest into farms around them. And we did have a slight nerf recently to the inspiration, so down from 40% to 35%. Meanwhile, Japan has been receiving a couple of buffs here and there, so maybe it's not as one-sided as what some might think now.
I mean, nothing is one-sided when it's in Puppypaw's hands. And I think this is something we've also seen Puppypaw bloom into. At some point, he was a little bit more of a defensive player, but now he knows how to be aggressive. He knows his timings. He is absolutely a menace once he gets the lead. VortiX, though, we'll see how he adapts to what Puppypaw puts on the table, especially with Japan kind of being the playmaker in this matchup. So guys, let's hop on in and see what Japan can do against HRE.
Jumping straight into our game number 4 now. Still match point though for VortiX. We are seeing the Holy Roman Empire for him in the color red, moving out immediately with the villager here. Very much intent on getting a dock up on one of these points. In the meantime, Puppypaw looks like he is immediately moving out to gold. Means that he just wants to get that fast feudal age in as quickly as possible. House right next to the to his TC means that he is gonna somewhat hinder himself when it comes to the farming placement here later down the line, but at least doesn't have to move out that far to build that house.
Now, this is pretty risky business because Japan, they do have a few answers up their sleeve this early in the game when it comes to any type of dock play. So if VortiX does invest a little bit too much here on the dock, it does spell for a pretty tough uphill battle for him. Now, Puppypaw, he is a man who... Oh, and he's getting his upgrade early as well. He's playing this game at his pace. Puppypaw definitely is not in a rush to get anything or any damage done just yet. But, oh, it is going to come in feudal. So, Crackety, is this a position where you age up with the Cocker Township? Or that's probably the only answer here, right?
I mean, Coca Township is definitely something that you could go for. It's not necessarily the only option, I want to say, for sure. Shinobi are nice overall, but against the HRE, which do get access to archers with 1.38 hertz per second movement speed, might not be the best choice in the end, as the archers are going to be able to catch up to them, or at least keep up with them. And yeah, I mean, that's... it's a nice idea. I just think that overall, like, getting all of these free farms as well can long-term just set you up much nicer, especially in a transition period. And if you want to go for a fast castle play, you need a lot of food for Lancers or Mounted Samurai down the line, and just having all of these free farms coming in, it just helps you a ton throughout it all. And also just getting a couple more garrison slots for your villager, definitely nice to have.
Especially when those raids start coming from the HRE. But now Puppypaw is about to click up, and he goes for the Cocker Township. He says aggression over eco. And this is going to already foretell us exactly how this game is going to go. Puppypaw going to be starting to do that harassment and not slowing down. With 2 villages on gold, he's going to be producing these guys for quite a while. And 6 villagers. Oof, Crackety. This is going to be a tough one for VortiX. Because if he gets forced off of the gold after that dock gets, stopped at least. It is going to be a tough one. Now, he is over on gold already, so the age up will not be that long after. But he's definitely not going to want to spend 6 villages worth of idle time to try and get this age up and running.
Yeah, the question is though, is he going to be able to really hit a timing here now with the Coca Township? Might be able to start harassing the dock a little bit, but in the end, the age up isn't going to get denied, and Vortex should be able to get his own age up in and potentially just react with archers. And we're actually getting the Minework Palace in now, so it means that he's also going to have access to very cheap and very quickly researched blacksmith upgrades, which can be very important when you're up against a potential Yumi Archer transition down the line from Puppypaw. Having very early blacksmith upgrades against them when they're already doing less damage makes it quite tough.
Now, the Minework Palace with 7 means that he's not going to be that far behind, but it does mean that that dock is not going to be making any military ships. And not that VortiX was planning on it too much anyway. He does have a lot of villagers there on the wood, and you do see them all inspired and wonderful. The thing is, though, with those shinobis, they are going to idle this out, but in this case, you probably just want to be able to get your archers out to try and shut this down. Villagers now moving out. Ooh. Is this going to be a counter dock? But no, that's just a boar. Oh my goodness. Crackety,
Vortex, he's trying to body block. He's trying to body block here as well. Yeah, looks like Puppypaw, he actually wants to get an outpost up there. And the shinobi is going to be able to sabotage, so there's not going to be any immediate ship in queue here, meaning that this outpost most likely is going to be going up. 2 villagers pulled for that. It's quite a hefty investment here as well for Puppypaw.
Now, 2 villagers all the way out here means that that is a lot of lost resources, but it could mean that he's going to be using those villagers in another capacity as well. Trying to get them out to build a dock maybe after that. Problem is just now that the archers are coming, that feels like a pretty steep investment now. The archers already coming out of that archery range, the barracks follow-up.
The pathing, oh my god, look at Vortex just absolutely abusing the pathing here, making sure the shinobi cannot reach. But the shinobi is going to actually get a villager kill, and now is going to be able to shunshin out of there. Outpost also is getting complete, but man, I can't believe what I saw there. That scout just single-handedly blocking out that shinobi from being able to sabotage that archery range. That was disgusting to witness.
And that just shows the mighty micro of the Vortex. But now that tower is going to get an emplacement as well. And those fishing ships are going to be dead on the water, as they're just going to be idle all the time. Now, Vortex is getting +1 already, courtesy of the mind work, right? But the mind work is just making this a lot simpler for him to do this with. Now, going out onto the fish, ensuring he gets every bit of fish tapped out here, so when his opponent starts to dock, he is not going to get that advantage. A little bit of food drop off now, and the archers still keep being made. Now with the spearmen as well, because he knows what could come next. It's just a bunch of horses, but Puppypaw has said, I would rather have a barracks. And starts to make a samurai. Mm-hmm.
That is interesting, considering as well that he doesn't have any villagers on gold at the moment. So it's going to be quite tough for him to keep investing into those. We'll potentially have to move some villagers over there again and be able to take down another villager here. Puppypaw being very, very active here at the moment with these shinobis. Just needs to make sure that he's going to be able to keep them alive. One goes to very low HP there, just for a second, trying to trade out against the Spearman and Archer composition from VortiX. He's actually gonna lose one of those Shinobis there. Tries to kite VortiX around the outpost that he's got there. Second one also going down. Able to take down a Spearman, 2 Spearmen here with him potentially. Just 1.
Now this does look actually pretty decent here, because VortiX shutting down a lot of those Shinobis, and you know, the food transition behind this feels tough, because now he needs to go out on actual food. And Puppypaw, he is there on the dock, as we can see, but that is simply 1. The Shinobi doing quite a bit of work here. Honestly, 5 total. I know 3 of them are fishing ships, but still, it starts to add up, and that type of idle time is going to make a difference. The thing is, we saw 5 on gold, ladies and gents. That means we might be seeing some shenanigans, at least upgrades. But now the Yumi are coming on out. I did see him queuing up yet another samurai, but instantly going to the Yumis instead. This could be quite fun.
Yeah, Yumi archers in general just very, very cheap to mass up. The issue with them is that unless you've got the Daimyo Manor, without abandonment, they are gonna not do nearly as much damage as other archers, so you really have to mass up a lot of them to make them work. And it takes a while to get to that Daimyo, right? Like, you need to just gather up a lot of gold for it, and we're actually seeing another ram coming in now here for Vortex. He's once again just playing on the aggression here. Very straightforward, very aggressive, and the ram timing, I hope this time around it's gonna work better for him than last time.
Now, that ram is going to be, this time in a different fashion, right? Last time it was risky. This time he's got the military and the upper hand in terms of economy. We do see that the income per minute is favoring a little bit more onto the side of Vortex in terms of the resources that he needs for this. Puppypaw, he's investing the gold into upgrades now, but the samurais are going to make this a little bit harder. He does need to be careful and ensure that he kites this, but keep in mind, those archers are the speedy ones, and they can do pretty well against this. Now, the ram front line, the samurais are trying to look for that damage. Archers in position to try and focus fire them, but the ram already took quite a bit of damage here.
Puppypaw able to hold the position here at the front line. Vortex could consider going for another ram now, just to try and brute force that. We're seeing more and more horsemen coming in there as well. Pierce armor gonna be completing soon. Definitely a much needed upgrade here, as Vortex already has the pierce damage upgrade on his side, so the archer's currently just doing a lot of damage here from him. Also make sure to keep the scout alive. Scout is gonna go down. That's gonna be a lot of vision potentially denied now. Or Puppypaw no longer able to actively scout around the map now, unless he reinvests into that scout.
Now,
We do have the Shinobi just scouting out the gold vein there, so realizes that Vortex is adding in an outpost, might be looking for a castle age transition here soon.
Getting that castle could be fun, but he also needs to keep in mind that could also just be reactionary to the fact that there's a Shinobi constantly causing havoc onto that gold. That Shinobi, though, he's going in for round 2, and Vortex is looking away for a second. He might actually get a villager. Vortex is not reacting.
A second one? No, the second one does survive barely, but still getting another villager kill in there. Very, very nice here for Puppypaw. Vortex, though, still keeping an economy lead thanks to the presence on water.
Now, the composition is not changing much for Puppypaw, but the archer numbers are starting to get a little scary, though. I don't think this is something he wants to fight right now. Backs off with his ram between his legs and goes straight back to base. He realizes this is not something we're going to be doing. We saw how this worked out last game. I'm going to use the mobility of my units and actually try to kite and get away from this.
Archers trying to run away here. Horsemen doing a little bit of juking around the side. Able to give the majority of the army here the run around. The Puppypaw might need to be careful here inside of his wood line, as the archers could be trying to find some damage there. Puppypaw now able to take some good trades, fighting off some of these archers as they're on the retreat.
Now that's
I'm not able to finish off the last for you.
He does have a lot of horsemen on the side, though, and one spearman is not going to cut it, and he picks up a villager. Righty, that's a pretty big one. Even just getting the idle time, because now he's trying to delay his opponent. He's going for castle, you know, so he does have to delay. So with these horses, he's using that mobility to try and gain control of this, but these Yumis, they are just eating every archer running behind.
And the Yumi mass is getting quite high now. Puppypaw, he was on stone there. Has managed to get the Daimyo in, so is now going to be able to reinforce with a Yumi bannerman. And once he gets that in, these archers are going to start doing a lot more damage. Lots of villagers on gold now for Puppypaw. Looks like he's thinking about Castle Age. Vortex already very close to hitting Castle Age himself.
Now, this can still go either way. I feel like Vortex, he did make a few good plays here, but maybe the ram investment just did not pay off as he wanted. Cathedral coming on out, which makes a lot of sense. You're not trying to cheese your opponent, you're trying to win the game as a tree, and getting the Cathedral here is going to be nice, because you can just make all those little arcane chapels all around the map. So definitely a pretty safe move here, but the thing is Puppypaw's army is scary, and there's a lot of them. Now he does go for the archers, so VortiX learning from the other players, but at the same time there's so many Yumis, they can shut this down quickly. And he does get a significant amount of damage onto these though.
Archer ship was in queue, but does get cancelled here. Puppypaw able to shut down the dock here and the fishing economy, doing some good economic damage, but the age-up is about to come in for VortiX. Puppypaw able to click up his own age-up in just a second though. Loading gate now on its way. More raids coming in as well though. Horsemen once again find their way into the wood line. Puppypaw potentially losing a villager or two there yet again. Doing some damage on the other side as well. Yeah, one villager does go down there. Horsemen will lose their life as well. At least the one of them did lose its life.
Now it does look like VortiX is able to, just sit back, get the knights he needs. And we'll see if they're going to be able to handle this, because those Yumis, they look scary, and they are able to push off of wood right now. It feels like VortiX is in a pretty tough spot at the moment. Because yes, he got castle first. But, ooh, and look at the upgrade, ladies and gents.
Oh, that's a tough one for Puppypaw to deal with. Because typically, that's the thing, right? Like, you get a maximum of 6 armor on knights. Archers at the same time, they do a maximum of 9 damage in Castle Age. So, typically, a knight will take 3 damage, but the +2 armor means that knights only take 1 damage from an archer shot, meaning that archers just barely tickle these knights, and VortiX is gonna have some great knights here. Puppypaw, he can't remain on the Yumi archer composition, or at least he can never fight up against the knights. He's always gonna have to manually target another unit.
Now, we do see that this army is starting to connect, and the knights are doing amazing work here against all of those samurai. They do start to chase them down, and we can see those knights are looking for a path right on top of them. He does need to be careful. The Yumis are here. The armor has not kicked in, but it is about to. The archer upgrade going to be following suit soon after. Another knight in the queue. But the archer numbers not enough to handle quite the amount of samurai that we see here now. Mounted samurai now from Puppypaw also going to be joining the fight, and +2 range attack is going to make this a little bit better for him.
No tier 2 armor yet, but we can already see just how little damage these knights are taking from the Yumi archers. Little Wololo coming in. Isn't really going to survive 1,000 arrows to the face, though. Some mounted samurais in. Puppypaw also adding in some Onimusha now, trying to get some counter units in against the knights. Also, I kind of feel like just more mounted samurai probably would do enough when it comes to just fighting off against these knights here from VortiX.
Now he is looking for a play. I'm kind of not certain how this plays out when they do collide here. Because yes, those knights are quite spicy, but in a straight up engagement with those Onimushas, they are going to make this so much harder. The archer numbers from VortiX also not that high, but at the same time you're playing against mounted samurai. Those things, and samurai, they are not going to take a lot of damage from your archers. He just does not have the mass to handle this. Prelate now in danger, does get off too. The knights being now on the left side, he's going to try and find a little bit of damage, but you can see this is a very aggressive Puppypaw. He's diving, he's read this, he knows this is his timing. The archers are trying to make this work, but it doesn't feel like there's enough of them. The knights not colliding with anything just yet there in the base of Puppypaw, but he needs to find some damage. This is a lot of idle time. He just hasn't done any economic damage just yet.
Mounted samurai reinforcements are inside the base, so does at the very least have an answer. He just needs to react to that. Is going to pull the villagers now. But behind this, Puppypaw, he's doing a lot of damage inside the base of VortiX. No more reinforcements left right now, and VortiX, he has to call it. Suddenly, we're at a grand match point now between the two. 2-2 as Puppypaw is able to even out the set.
This might be a reverse sweep, Crackety. I cannot
might
believe
just be.
it. Ladies and gentlemen, may these guys give us all the plays we can ask for. HRE not looking as OP as we expected them to be, but Puppypaw, honestly, he just showed us exactly how to play against the HRE champions. And yes, Puppypaw, he set the pace of their game. He kept it going. The pushes, again, we saw that ram coming on in. It was a pretty expensive ram to make, but also just not paying off. Vortex might have to read this and say, hey, I need to think about these. These investments I keep making, where are they going to lead me?
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Like investing into the RAM upgrade as well, siege engineering here. It's a lot of cost and gives your opponent time to mass up their army. And in the end, you might miss out on the timing. It wasn't a naked, just fast castle age play here from Puppypaw, so it didn't work out that well. And this just mass big ball of Yumi archers, they become so valuable with the age up, with the Yumi Bannerman. VortiX not having Snites inside of his base there, not having enough of a force to push back, and in the end, I mean, we saw Puppypaw just doing an excellent play here, knowing his timing and pushing in when he saw that there is not enough units here from VortiX to hold this.
Now, VortiX, he is going to have to pull out all the stops, but the stops include Ottomans. The thing is, Byzantines, they are not a civ that you can just dismiss. This is also Puppypaw's Byzantines. He's very comfortable on this. We've been seeing Byzantines pull out some crazy plays, but Ottomans, we know it's a solid civilization. We've seen people just make magic happen on it. But guys, I do want to take a moment here and just call out these absolute chads who have been giving some subs to EGC. Johan Buck and King Smurf, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Because of people like you in the community, EGC can keep putting up these amazing events, and thank you again. For anyone else with a Prime lying around, don't drop it on EGC. There's still a little bit of entertainment coming along next weekend, and you don't want to be watching it through ads, do you? So
it's the case, right? Like, always gotta make sure that you do have that sub going, because ads never fun there. And yeah, you talked about it. Ottomans. I cannot complain about Ottomans enough at the moment. I swear, Whammon. Sipahi, they hunt me in my nightmares. Like, every time I close my eyes and I see a Sipahi in front of me, I'm like, no, don't reach me with your like insane attack range, insane health, and it's crazy. It's crazy. But we're gonna have to see whether they're gonna be coming into play here, because Byzantines, they do love making their Limitani. It's gonna be an interesting one. I think Ottomans at the moment and Byzantines, they feel very similarly. Both of them are getting units for free. Both of them get some very strong units for free. Question is, who gets the stronger units? This is Frisian Marshals as well, so chances are that players are gonna be left alone for the first 5 minutes and just able to get their economy going. Maybe we do see some Dark Age aggression from the Ottomans against the Byzantines. Maybe not. We'll see.
We're about to find out. Ladies and gents, let's go on in. Byzantines versus the Otter Chads. Who will reign supreme? Will it be our red Vortex with a barracks, not a military school? Ladies and gents, we've seen this. We've seen this time and time again. An Ottoman with a barracks is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And it's usually also just because people don't expect it as much. It was pretty common for a while there, but Puppypaw, you know, this man has a very big brain. He's going to scout for this. He's not going to be taking any risks. He spots it. He knows what's coming.
Who did Puppypaw buy off in this game? Like, look at that spawn from him. We get the back berries as well, in between some very smallish wood lines as well. So, yeah, this is a pretty nice spawn here. Like, the berry's just very far away, and he's already gathering gold, meaning that by the time the spearman arrives, he's already gonna have enough gold for the H-up. We do see Vortex also sending a villager forward, though, so this isn't just gonna be only spearmen. There's gonna be an outpost follow-up.
Now, that is, again, a pretty big investment, but Vortex, he has been all about those big investments, and we need to see if that's going to be the same payoff as in the previous games, because that is not the type of payoff that he wants. Now, putting a tower there will deny the stone, and it will deny the gold, which is possibly a pretty good position to be in, but you see that's not what he's looking for.
He sees the berries, and he sees that those berries are very hard to get at. Spearman taking some damage there from the TC and losing some health there. Puppypaw sending more villagers over to stone. Wants to get enough for the next cistern in. Spearman moving in, but they have to be careful. One more TC volley. It's going to be able to finish off that Spearman. No villagers garrisoning though, and we do see outposts now coming in here from VortiX, so will want to deny that Grand Winery, at least for a start. Puppypaw does see this one coming though.
Now, what's pretty interesting about this is it still blocks the gold in a way. Once that tower gets upgraded as well, it's not just going to be a normal old tower. It's actually going to probably reach the gold. He could potentially put the gold mine on the other side. There's also another side gold mine that he could go on to. But now this is starting to be very aggressive as VortiX has made 5 spearmen. And this is no longer just like, oh, tra-la-la, I'm going to tower rush you. It is more of a, oh, I'm going to burn stuff down alongside it. This is not going to stop. Now, VortiX, he is...
But he just pulled Akratoy. Does he have it on the villagers? He does! He does have it on the villagers. Outpost does get cancelled out. Age-up not coming in yet, though, for Puppypaw, so this actually didn't really achieve that much, did it? Like, he can just reposition that outpost. He needs a little bit more wood, though.
Now, with the wood that he spent on this, he's ready to spend it yet again. And it does look like those villagers have another thing in mind. They just want to get all their wood inspired for great mining returns. So they do get a pretty nice position there on the cistern. Now, VortiX is edging towards the age-up himself. And Puppypaw, he doesn't have any extra gold. And we do see a little bit of a repeat from earlier. The difference now is, this is not Byzantines that has unlimited oil. This is not a Byzantines that can follow this up with longbows. This is a Byzantines that barely has anything for any other units that might come his way. So those spearmen, they're actually going to be a pretty good defense for the time being.
To be fair though, there's still berries on the other side of the base here for Puppypaw, and there's also gold there, so in theory Puppypaw, he can just, you know, do the Patrick Star move and be like, okay, let's leave and just go somewhere else. That is definitely an option here for him. He's just gonna need to gather up enough resources for this move out. Does have the gold there on the other side as well. So overall, this isn't the end of the world for him, but we do see the Spearman burning down that first mining camp here. Instead, Puppypaw, he's gonna have to replace it somewhere else soon.
Now, as a Byzantines player, Crackety, I can 100% say I do not have wood to throw around this early in the game, so that is a pretty big thing to pick up this early on, even if it's just a little old mining camp. Now, VortiX behind this, he's going to age up, he's going to be able to get that upgrade on the Spearman as well, so this does make it a little bit more complicated.
Padrone now gonna be finishing up here, immediately getting some of these horsemen in. Villager is on his long way back after successfully putting up that outpost. VortiX now also moving out to stone, so most likely will want to get up a military school at some point. Barracks opening now also getting spotted out by a scout there from VortiX, so will have knowledge of that. What's the response gonna be? Just more spearmen for the time being.
Well, no rush, clearly. VortiX says, I will age up with 4, I have my time, I'm taking my time, but Puppypaw says, I need my gold. So going on to the other gold, as you predicted, because he knows that, you know, this is his for the taking. He also needs to get his limit and A upgraded, so those things are going to be quite important. Puppypaw now trying to look for damage of his own. VortiX just microing that spearman like this is going to save the whole game, and he is correct, it might. That horseman is not finding anything to connect on.
What's the play now behind this? We are seeing the emplacement coming in on that outpost, so is going to be able to deny the gold there as well. Puppypaw, though, has moved out with another sister that is going to be able to get the influence range there on the second gold and the second berry patch there as well, so isn't really going to be too impacted by this outpost at all for the time being. He can be very fine with that, and right now he's keeping the majority of VortiX's reinforcement spearmen inside of his base. Or do we actually see a troop of the spearmen moving out inside of the base from Puppypaw right now? The 5 spearmen that were inside the outpost have just come out, and there is a villager with very low HP. Actually, both villagers going down here. Vortex picking them off one by one.
That is a massive pickup here for Vortex. He must be pretty happy with this trade, and there might be more victims along the way. No, Puppypaw pulling him back just in time, but these villagers are going to be taking quite a bit of damage too. The horsemen here, that is a massive pickup at this point of the game. The villagers do have their accurate. They are putting up a pretty good. Now, I would like to know that vizier point though. Could we get a look on that vizier point? Was it just cheap?
I do want to... It hasn't been used yet. There we go. Now it has been used. Sheep is coming in. But I do want to pull your attention towards the villager count, because actually Puppypaw and Vortex, they're even.
Dead even. Oh.
Even though Vortex just killed 2 villagers, so there must have been some idle time at some point in time for him. Did he get textiles in?
The power of being a raider, especially if Puppypaw can idle that out. But oh my goodness, Puppypaw doing amazing work here at microing against those spears. Now Vortex though, he's going for archers, especially against those spear numbers. That's going to be great. Problem is, there's a lot of horsemen accompanying those guys, so it is going to be quite hard to handle. Now he does need to get these guys to safety, because this is a pretty large chunk of his army. The Method is out as well, but it does look like Puppypaw is not going to overcommit here. He knows his limits, and he does not want to risk anything. Now the slow farm transition here from Puppypaw is going to mean the oil will eventually add up alongside those berries he's been snacking on, and soon enough he'll be able to afford his first pile of mercenaries.
Getting a couple of longbows in would definitely help him here. Vortex now also adding in Sipahi though, and at 155 health whammon, these Sipahi, they can take a couple of additional hits from the Limitani, which actually does add up and is quite massive, meaning that the Sipahi are very, very strong meat shield. Even when you have the spearmen at the front line, they just don't go down fast enough for the archers to just take down all of the spearmen that you have at the front line. But Sipahi actually moving out without the scout, getting trapped by the spearmen there, will get taken down. Puppypaw behind this, just running around, running some circles around his opponent, and just making sure that he always knows where his opponent's military is.
Now, these guys are not taking any crazy risks like we saw in the previous games. Vortex is trying to calculate this. Yes, he sacrificed the Sipahi, but it was just because Puppypaw sacrificed one of his horses earlier. These guys are keeping it neck and neck, and I just cannot believe how even this game is up until now. We now see the blacksmith back here for Puppypaw also coming on in, and longbows, his first pile of them, have been queued up. This is going to be making it a lot harder for those spears to just be poking right through the horses, but the 2 Sipahis, they are still going to be something that Puppypaw has to focus on. 10 horsemen though. I feel like Puppypaw's army is in a pretty good position.
Yeah, 100%. We do have double military schools though for Vortex, so slowly but surely those are going to start paying off. And now Puppypaw also able to burn down the outpost that Vortex put inside of his base. No longer are there any spearmen inside, so that outpost is going to go down rather fast. No fortification on that one as well. And yeah, Horseman and Limitani just going to be able to burn that one down very quickly. I do believe Vortex got a glimpse of the mercenaries that just came out though.
Now, the problem is here, he doesn't have a scout with this army, and this is very risky. You cannot run into the stealth forest without a scout. Scout has arrived. He realizes this might be a little bit of a problem. The thing is, this is not an Ottomans with that usual feudal age aggression where you have your imams healing up the whole army. This is a pretty risky fight either way. Now the Spahis, they do get onto the back, they get another village, 2 villages going down, and a third maybe. Spahis going all the way through. Absolute destruction here. And Spahis
really
take a bit of
unit.
damage. But they're amazing. Those are the longest sticks in all of the lands.
Sipahi just able to pick off more and more villagers there. Now Vortex finally getting that villager lead that he does deserve after just already killing 5 villagers in this point in the game. Puppypaw now also sending some horsemen around, trying to find some villager kills, but the Vizier point at this point in time means that Vortex, he didn't really need to move out onto the map at all. He's still sitting just comfortably inside of his base and, yeah, still gathering off of the sheep there.
Finally got his imams too, making sure that he wants to heal up those bad boys and not getting that army sacrificed. But these guys are in a little bit of a blind spot. They might make some connections, and that's exactly what he needs to do right now. He needs to find a little bit of eco damage. They're about to make a connection onto that wood line. They are sneaking right in. Villagers instantly reacting. VortiX is aware, and he's ready. He's got the wheelbarrow to follow this up with as well.
Osman are gonna have to evacuate. Able to pick off one of the Sipahi out there on the map. VortiX right now just scaling into more and more archers and spearmen. I'm kind of worried, Ram, because the horsemen from Puppypaw together with Triumph, they become equally scary to Sipahi here, and that's the kind of issue with Sipahi, right? Like, you can use them as a frontline even against their counter, the spearmen. Osman trying to burn down the military school here, but we'll find that that one just has a little bit too much health to be burned down quickly enough.
Now, this is baiting out a significant portion of this army, and you can see those horses, they're trading pretty well. Another villager, they're going down, 2 more going down on the side of VortiX is just absolutely picking off every single bit he can without sacrificing any of his own. Puppypaw, his army is scary, but this is such a massive snowball situation that he's allowing to happen with this army composition. He does have a bit of longbows, but he's just not sure how to make this damage happen. The horse is now still looking for an opening, a little bit of damage, but they are not able to connect. Every villager staying alive for VortiX, and I'm touching wood right now because I'm a little bit scared I just jinxed it for him.
We're still investing more and more into horsemen now at this point in time. He did move out onto the berries in the back. Does have that second patch of archers, and having 10 longbows means that he is going to be able to one-shot the spearmen as well. Horsemen are going to find some villager kills here. Do we have Explorators in? We can't see it at the moment, but that is a good amount of damage coming in.
He did get it earlier. I saw it in the upgrades tab.
Yeah, there it is.
There we see tick-tock,
That's
tick-tock.
almost 100 gold. He's gotten 60 gold there.
Now, it still feels pretty good to actually get that down, but the problem is that was a very expensive 60 gold. Because now these units will be going down pretty quickly. You do see another horseman paying the price. The archers focusing now, getting another horse, maybe not another one. They do get one pretty low, but all of a sudden, when I said that Puppypaw was in a good position, I did not mean minus 3 or 4 horses. This is starting to be a lot scarier. And now VortiX has the opportunity to make this a pretty aggressive play. Now is the time for him to think about getting a ram.
We have not seen Triumph come in yet so far, though. We're seeing more blacksmith upgrades making their way in for Puppypaw, and still continuing to harass, causing some idle time here and there with a couple of horsemen. Doing a great job there. This is going to be another outpost. Is getting rushed up now by Puppypaw. He's going to get a full glimpse of the army. Is the outpost going to be coming up in time? Looks like it, but villagers are going to have to evacuate. Villagers, they're going to have to evacuate. Not evacuating in time, women.
Well,
The reinforcements are coming in.
The problem is those archers don't do much, but the spearmen are charging right through, and it's archers against the longbows, against spears, against the horses right now. It feels like rock, paper, scissors, but the rock, paper, scissors feels a little bit stronger for Puppypaw. He's got the Triumph ability activated now, but a few of these horses are caught out. Archers doing an amazing job at picking up these Limitinate. It doesn't feel like he dropped the shield wall. They are melting, Crackety. And this is an absolute walkover. The villagers are next. They're out here on the fish, but 7 of them have died already. He says, let me just take down a few more. The longbows find their best at making sure these trades are favorable. But these horses, their Triumph ability was just not enough against the full spearman army.
Yeah, Triumph still ticking behind this, but the longbow count now is getting thinned out, and the villagers, Akratoi is getting pulled. They're pulling the spears. At the same time, horsemen also trying to go for a re-engagement, but the spearmen there to meet them. Villagers actually not being focused down at the moment. They're doing a decent job up against the military count here now from VortiX. What? The Akratoi carrying this fight now. VortiX, he's only 4 villagers ahead behind this. There wasn't like a huge difference at the end.
And an Imam is about to be sacrificed for
He's
this as well.
overrunning now.
The thing is, VortiX is going to be able to make more units behind this, and yes, he picked up 5 more vills between that. I know. How is he?
But he's only 3 vills ahead.
How is that possible, Crackety? Did he just forget to make villagers behind all this?
I don't know.
Is focused. Hey guys, what you doing over there?
Doesn't have enough wood for a mill yet. Does have it now. There we go, mill's coming in. But that was a crazy fight there for Puppypaw.
And that's about to be a crazy raid for Puppypaw. Because he's about to find out where those villagers are with all those horses. And his military is not in position to keep them alive. Now, he's going yet again for this push. He's like, you don't have Acrotoy now. Watch me do this again. But this time, it's better. Now, the problem is, he might pick up a villager or two here. Those horses are in position to collapse onto these guys. They do have wheelbarrows, and not all of them will go down. But this only matters if he doesn't see this.
Now Puppypaw, he sees the steer, and now he sees the villagers on the berries. Is he gonna react? He's gonna react, but VortiX immediate reaction, pulling the villagers out there. And Puppypaw, the formation is slowing him down a little bit. Not able to get the full surrounding that he needs there, and the reinforcement, the main army is gonna be coming in there now as well. Only able to pick off one of the villagers here at the end. He's gonna have to run away now. Doesn't want to lose any more of these horsemen. Behind this VortiX, he does still have the majority of the military. 16 spearmen now as well. Puppypaw, he doesn't have any archers. Only 3 longbows. That's not going to be enough. And it's a pie raid. Could be spelling doom here. A lot of fortitude being activated as well. Bonus attack speed coming in. Means that the spy will take more damage, but they're also just doing so much more as well. So many villagers going down.
It is a very heavy price to pay, and all of a sudden that villager count is not looking the same as it did earlier. This is a massive lead now. VortiX needs to keep, or Puppypaw needs to keep in mind, he's also playing against Ottomans, the king of free units. Now, these horses, they try to find another connection too. He realizes, I lost a lot, I need to do damage. 21 villagers dead now. 12 ahead, only. So VortiX does, he's in an okay position. Both of them are. He just needs to find a way to transition out of this. But the problem is, the villagers are out on food here on the map, and it doesn't feel like VortiX is slowing down. Slowly but surely, this is going to be a...
CH up.
It's going to be a pretty good spot for Ottomans to be in. And Puppypaw, he doesn't have any gold. He is just letting these units come out of pure wood and food. And those are running low too.
Just a big ball of horsemen now at this point in time. We are getting another batch of archers in as well. A couple more longbows. This doesn't feel like it's good enough. Mehmet Imperial Armory getting rushed up now by 14 villagers, and 22 spearmen on the side from VortiX means that he's just going to have more than enough units in order to deal with these horsemen that Puppypaw is sending around now.
Now, with the age up coming on in, he's got just enough gold to get one upgrade, prioritizing most likely those archers. Oh, yeah, there we go. Never mind. Everyone's in position. They're going to be getting all their upgrades they want. Now, archers instantly getting the upgrade, spearmen following suit. And now the horses are looking for a raid, and they might get it. VortiX is not reacting. Beautiful surround here, but only gets 3. What's that?
Was only 2. Every little bit does count, though. At the same time, those Apahi just immediately one-shotting one of the villagers there with their very, very long spears in hand. And this does ultimately still hurt Puppypaw quite a lot. He is trying to follow up with his own age-up play behind this. Just needs to make sure that VortiX can't really leave his base at the moment, at least not with the majority of his military force. Veterancy upgrades coming in the meantime, though.
VortiX gets a connection on this main army. It does spell for a lot of trouble. Puppypaw needs to try and deny or delay this by just being constantly active. He needs to get his own castle age. The problem is just if he does he have the income to support this? This is not the Byzantines we know, the Byzantines with the unlimited olive oil. This is a Byzantines on the back foot. There's only 2 farms from the get-go that are pumping olive oil into this economy. That is a very aggressive Golden Horn Tower.
It is very far forward, and we do still have a lot of horsemen on the backside here, inside the base from VortiX, from Puppypaw. He's trying his best to keep him back, but now there's a big ball of units moving forward. Not too many spearmen, mind you. It might not really matter here, as at this point in time, there's just not enough of a military force moving out there from Puppypaw. Horsemen are trying to make their way back. Currency spearmen are getting a couple of pickoffs there. The horsemen do make their way out. Villagers might be a little bit trapped there on the back line as well, around those shoreline fish. Could be found out by Vortex at any point in time. We're on level 5 Cistern though, so the upgrades at least should be coming in really, really quick for Puppypaw. He's gonna need them very quickly as well. Still though, veteran spearmen up against horsemen, this does not feel well.
Now the upgrade coming in, basically 20 seconds. That is disgusting. But the food income, Crackety, it has plummeted. The villagers are out in a very vulnerable position there, as we can see on the western side. But now, this is a pretty scary push, and Vortex knows that he's getting +2 range defense as well. He knows that there are longbows, but he doesn't realize how few villagers are going to get picked off by the supply, even if just he loses another 3. This is massive.
He doesn't have wheelbarrow. They're so slow.
I think the army is pretty
They're
slow
moving
as
it.
well.
Oh, yeah, they're both moving very slow, but the villagers are moving especially slow. No wheelbarrow on them means that these are all gonna go down. Puppypaw is just rallying everything. Wait. He's going for lamp. Okay, he's lost his mind.
No, Puppypaw, what are you doing?
He's pulling the vills as well.
Oh no.
He's going for everything. He's pulling the vills. He's pulling everything. Is there a scout? Does he have the scout upgrade as well? Does he have the scout upgrade? Can we check? Can we check the hippodrome? Does he have the bonus torch damage upgrade? There's already so many reinforcements. Lombo's trying their best. We do have it. Yeah, we do have it. So with a scout nearby, these guys do a lot more damage. Triumph coming in as well. Villager torching.
Villagers going for the
Is the
mangonel,
military gonna be there in time? All the villagers going down as well. That's a lot of gold generated, actually.
Oh my goodness, it might just be crazy enough to work, although the army is circling and they're coming from the north. Guys, this might be a little bit of a distraction here because that is just the TC. There's 2 more to go and there's a lot of units here in the base. Not a lot in production though. Villagers getting out. They have 500 wood to repair with. They've got the time and all of a sudden this is a massive cleanup. No,
Villagers still on the move around. Puppypaw now trying to get them out there. He actually killed a lot of villagers over on Vortex's side as well. And looking at his gold bank, he suddenly has a lot of gold to play with, just courtesy of the Explorator's upgrade here. But without wheelbarrow, these villagers are just sitting ducks and they're not going to be able to make it out alive. He does find some villagers here as well from Vortex, but yeah, wheelbarrow now coming in. It's just a little bit too late, and the military force just not looking strong enough here. More villagers just running forward, running around. Gonna be able to find some villagers here on the gold as well, but doesn't really have the presence anymore. What a crazy wild game to end out the series, though. Whammon. Yeah, in this 2-2 set now between the two, it looks like Vortex is gonna be able to close it out and win this one. 60 archers, 40 spearmen. That's a good enough count here up against the 30 military units from Puppypaw. You see another hurrah potentially though, but nah, there's no way.
I love the fact that he's still getting wheelbarrows. Like, I just want these people to run faster. This is really frustrating. So now there's villagers hoping to get another shot at that wheelbarrow coming on out. But let's get, I just want to see his base. Are there any villagers in his base, or is he just rallying them forward? Like, you shall die. There's nothing. Oh, never mind. They're getting wood.
Couple left on wood. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine. Look at all the gold that he's gotten, Whammon. So much gold. So much gold.
He's going to have to buy himself something nice with all of that, because the top 4 prize money will be going over to Vortex as he now makes it into the top 4, which is absolutely wild here. I'm so happy to see that Vortex could take down someone as predominant as Puppypaw. Puppypaw, he has been putting up a massive fight, and Vortex, he definitely gave us a great final game. This is how you want to end a weekend, Crackety. Gorgeous.
Very, very gorgeous. Now the infrastructure is getting burnt down as well. And, I mean, Puppypaw still finding some villager kills here and there. But there it is. GG comes in. Vortex able to win the set in a nail-biting 3-2 fashion.
Almost making that reverse sweep, but the Spanish brother reigns supreme. He apparently did not just need water. He was fine on the land as well. Beautiful playstyle here. Vortex absolutely showing us that level of aggression. But Puppypaw, we're seeing him in a few weeks in person, and I'm a little bit scared for a lot of these players. This man has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, but absolutely amazing way to end the series off with. And I think we have a lot of amazing games coming in next week. No, the villagers. Oh. Look at that beautiful pool here. This was an amazing turning fight here. I honestly did not expect these villagers to take a fight like this.
It changed the entire dynamic suddenly of the game.
And honestly, VortiX didn't expect this either. He did not expect this to go so well for Puppypaw. You could see that by the way he played. He was like, oh, those are just villagers. Easy.
I mean, it's just a follow-up, right? Like Puppypaw, he was very much insistent on just making only horsemen throughout the entire game. I feel like maybe he needed to make like his own archers or go for the castle age transition just a little bit earlier. But it was a crazy play. At the end there, pulling all the horsemen, pulling all the villagers, getting the torch upgrade in as well. He actually killed so many villagers, and the villager pull was so convincing that I feel like if at this point in time, he somehow, with Wheelbarrow, had gotten his own villagers out alive, he might have even been able to win that game from there on out. But in the end, not quite able to do so. And man, this was just a crazy back and forth there. It's a desperation push for sure, but it's definitely one to remember.
They gave us a show, and Puppypaw going out swinging. He stayed in the game until the very end. He got his wheelbarrow out and ensured the villagers could run away for just a little bit longer. But that will actually lead us to looking at our final bracket, ladies and gentlemen. Are you guys ready? So we have the Anna Chad versus Marine Lord happening next week, and that is a match of dreams, if I may say. VortiX versus Louis as well. I can only foretell the most amazing games coming out of these. I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to be pulling out, and may the best Chad win. So guys, the interview is ready, so Crackety, we'll take you guys on over there.
All right, VortiX, congratulations. I know it's very late now into the day, but amazingly played series here between you and Puppypaw. It was a very close one towards the end. How are you feeling after that nail-biting victory there?
Yeah, thank you. Well, I'm feeling really good now. I actually got to calm down a bit. Like, that was a super intense series. Yeah, really happy. I mean, it's always hard for me to play against Puppypaw. I feel like he figured me out a long time ago. So yeah, managing to win like a big series, like a best of 5 like this, it's actually really, really nice.
And it was a set that did go the distance. At the beginning, you looked very solid there with a 2-0 lead. Puppypaw being able to climb back into it. And in the end, we did go all the way to game number 5. How are you feeling in that last 5th game after just, seeing Puppypaw climb back from a very, very, I want to say, difficult situation there, to say the least?
Yeah, I mean, I was feeling a little bit sleepy already. Like, the last 2 games, I was feeling a little bit tired. Also, the second game, I think, it was the Scandinavia one, if I'm not wrong. It was really, really intense. So I got a little tired after that. And going into the last game, I think the matchup is good for Ottoman. Even though Ottoman is not on like a very good place right now in the meta, I think the matchup is good. So I was feeling okay with the matchup. But then everything on the early game went so wrong. Like, his berries were super far in the back. For some reason, the TC was defending the stone, which normally doesn't happen. So yeah, the early game was a little bit rough, but I think I managed to keep it calm, get my villager kills, and kind of come back.
I want to talk to you about those 2 games that you did lose. Those were the only games where you did go for like feudal age ram pushes. Is that maybe just like not working out anymore at the moment? Because we do know you for like being the player that like really gets into the macro there and getting like the perfect timing in on those ram pushes. But they just, even on like normal ladder games, I feel like they don't seem to work that well anymore.
Yeah, I can agree. But then again, I think in those situations, especially in the 3rd game, right? I don't know, the 4th one maybe was a little bit awkward. I just didn't get to scout his army, so I didn't know he was committing so much to feudal. When I saw like a tower and 5 villagers on gold, I thought he was going FC. in that case, I think it would have been okay. And the third game, I don't know. I just lost to this strategy against Anotan the last week, and I was like, this shit is broken. I might as well try it. And apparently, it's not very good, or at least I probably didn't execute properly. I also lost one villager at the very beginning, which obviously is super bad.
It's one of those very difficult strategies that you do definitely have to practice, but it was definitely an interesting one to say the least. And sometimes, like when we do see it executed well, it kind of feels broken at the end of it. But man, Vortex, once again, congratulations. That means that now you're going to be going up against Louis MT. It means that you also get a chance to revenge your bro, because Louis did, of course, manage to beat out Lucifron earlier. And yeah, I mean, how are you feeling overall in regards to Louis MT? Do you think that you're feeling good, that you're in good shape against him? I do believe that you played against him in the upper bracket as well, and he did look very solid there as well.
Yeah, it was a really close series, 2-3, and I think I kind of threw at least 2 games. So I'm feeling good. I mean, Lou MT is super good. He's really, really good on certain things, but I think I can beat him, honestly. I'm not really afraid of him. I know I can lose, but I know I can win as well. So especially if I prepare properly, which, I mean, you know, it's summer and I want to go to beach and stuff. If I prepare properly, I think I can do well. Yeah, I think I'm feeling okay against Louis.
All right, definitely looking forward to it. Vortex, I don't want to keep you here much longer. I know it's been a long day for you as well. So once again, thank you so much for being here, and we're going to be seeing much more from you in the next weekend as well.
Thank you.